32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Space Boy Universe, featuring Space Boy and the lovely Solana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Space Boy.
I'm Solana.
And she's drinking a beverage. And this is Space Boy Universe. It is December 2nd, 2017, and we're on show number 2.09. And tonight we have guest Dan-macfarlane. And McFarlane? I guess I wrote it. My bad. And we'll correct it and I'll apologize.
You just want things to rhyme.
Yes, I know, it does. So, yeah, skateboarder extraordinaire, and we'll be talking to him at the bottom of the hour. You know, as always, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. You can follow Solana at Solana. Follow me, Spaceboy, at Spaceboy Music. Of course, follow the network that brings you all this fine, wonderful content, and that's at the SBU Network. Remember to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SB Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. Also, just as a note, you know, the show does get rebroadcasted, and don't feel bad that you can't be a part of the two live crew here, and that is go to the site and chime in on the chat and hang out with all the cool kids. And by doing that, you have to go to spaceboyuniverse.com, click that dancing chat bubble that's in our player, and that'll get you in with all the cool kids, and you can partake in the festivities. You know, Solana, in addition to Twitter, you can find the SBU on the Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, Tumblr, iTunes, YouTube. Just look for Spaceboy Universe. You know, speaking of YouTube, you know, you can find more than the Spaceboy Universe of archive of shows. There's video content from Spaceboy Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamer, sorry, I had a brain fart there, and so much more. Go there, subscribe, you know, because it's your duty as a space cadet to be well informed of all the content that's available out there beyond the mic. You know, can't catch the show live, no problem. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, and iTunes, because, man, we love to broadcast. And on that magical note, how are you, Solana?
I'm doing great. I got my Christmas present from you today, which was a haircut. You paid for a haircut. And now I'm ready to fight crime and do vigilante justice and take on the world. You know,
when you're not busy slapping the hair off the back of my head, you know, considering that I bought you a haircut, you know, I figured you'd be a lot nicer to me today, and you really haven't.
No, it just amped it up, didn't it?
You're a mean one, Mrs. Grinch. You know, so, yeah, but...
wait till I get the hair dye tomorrow.
Oh, then you're really going to excommunicate me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just not right. And so, you know, what can I say? It's just, you know, she's mean. You know, the holidays makes her meaner.
Yeah, do. So, actually, that's true.
So I'm glad you got your hair cut.
And it had been 5 months.
Really?
Yeah. I was like a homeless person.
That explains a lot of things. And she's looking at me like with her laser eyes. Now, let's continue on, Solana, because, you know, I love to post faux food stuff on my Facebook wall.
Faux food stuff?
Faux food.
Fake food?
Fake food. Food stuff. It's food porn. You know, I love seeing good stuff out there that's delicious and scrumptious and mouth-watering. And we came across a recipe recently that requires Hawaiian rolls.
Why are we talking about this?
We talk about everything in the universe.
This is weird.
Well, it's not really weird because, basically you just had this thing that...
Do you want me to go through the grocery list for tomorrow?
Well, I know that we're having tortellini at some point, but that's besides the point. You... Basically, I posted this thing with the Hawaiian rolls and the ham and the cheese and the oil flavin', and it looks great. But then you decided to take that idea and take the ham out and put meatballs in
I'm
instead.
not a fan of ham, but you're a grown man. You can buy your own ham and do what you want with your proportion of Hawaiian rolls. And, I just don't want to be dragged into your ham agendas because...
ham is delicious. The only other ham product...
It isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
The only other ham that I can think of that's even more delicious than that is bacon. Because I love my bacon.
It's all right.
Of course, I almost choked to death on some bacon bits the other night, but I digress.
You're a grown man. You should know better.
You're a grown man, and you can choke like just any other man.
Choked to death.
See? It's December, and she's already like, oh, I can't. My Christmas gift is for you to pass away. So, nothing says Christmas like at the Space Boy household. So,
it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, well, Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving. But anyway, so let's move on to something more palatable, and I'm sure you have something that you've reviewed.
Just very, very briefly, Stranger Things Season 2 confirmed. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if they had decided to end it right as is, I'd have been okay.
Sure.
Because I don't like this huge time jump they're going to do because the kids are going to be so much older.
Well, it's inevitable because they're growing like weeds, and so...
why do I have to grow so dang fast?
Although out of the 4... Is it 4? Yeah, it's 4 of the boys, that is. Will seems like he's just not growing.
Yeah, he's a little kid.
Mm-hmm. And he's got that Dorothy Hamill haircut.
Well, that's just for the show, and you see him in real life, it's all slicked back.
Yeah. So what else you got over there, Solana?
Well, I assume you'll have something to say about the Infinity Wars trailer.
Well, we could talk about that right now. I
only saw it once, so I'm kind of fuzzy.
Well,
I was watching, I was like, okay, where's this, because the things I've heard about it.
Right.
And then I saw them right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's only been one movie in the past couple of years that brought a tear to my eye, and I admit it because out of my childhood is when Star Wars, the
Force Awakens.
Yeah, the Force Awakens, the Foe Awakens. So when I saw that, and you had Chewbacca and Han Solo come on, and he says, "We're home, Chewie." It was like, oh, I was holding back.
I still haven't seen that movie.
So after watching all these years of these different Marvel movies, they're coming all together at once, and you've got Spider-Man, you've got Thor, you've got
on loan from Sony,
Loki, you've got Tony Stark. You got everyone in this movie, and finally, Thornos. I can't even say
Thanos.
His name. Thanos. Thank you. I got my tongue tied.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but anyway, I was getting to that point. So at the very end of this trailer, you have Thor, and he's got this patch on his eye, just like his dad did, and Odin. And he turns around, and he's kind of like, "Who are you guys?" And you see the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like, oh. So yeah, I was like, I'm really excited about that.
That must have been a huge budget.
Now let's compare this, Solana, because you brought this up just before the show came on. Where was the hype for Justice League? There wasn't the amount of hype.
It was kind of like, hey, we got this movie. Maybe it's coming out. Maybe
so, it just goes to show you what a phenomenal job that Marvel has done with this. And with the impending possible purchase, Disney's purchase of Fox Entertainment, then that means they would bring the X-Men, they would bring Deadpool, they would bring
all under the Marvel,
all under one. Yeah, and
except for Spider-Man.
And that's pretty exciting because going forward, then that would mean that they would have more stories to tell.
Yeah, they would cross them over.
Yeah, they would cross them over, interact, and then those could be the future movies. But according to what they're saying,
X-Men are fragmented.
Mm-hmm. According to well, actually, what's interesting is there's been some comic book episodes or comic book issues where Wolverine was a part of the Avengers. He interacted with them.
They gets mentioned in Deadpool stuff too.
Yeah, and
Wolverine.
well, there's that the combination, the war of Wolverine versus Deadpool. Anyway, it's an exciting time if Disney pulls this off. My only concern is you have this big giant of entertainment, and so it kind of worries me that it's all under one property. But then again, if anybody's going to do it right, it's got to be Marvel. I mean Disney to do Marvel right.
Fox seems like they want to get rid of all their entertainment and just do news and sports.
Mm-hmm. And so be it. That's fine.
I guess will they kill their two? Like kill FX and FX Extended, wherever that thing is.
No telling. But what's another thing I thought about? What's another franchise I like a lot that's under Fox, and that's Alien Covenant and all that.
Really?
Yeah. So
who would get that?
No. Well, that would be Disney.
Disney would just get everything.
Yeah. So that would go under Disney's house. Let's see another one that I know you haven't really seen, the recent Planet of the Apes
I never
series. Really good, well directed, just fantastic. I mean, it rivals that of the original Planet of the Apes in its own sense of using the CGI and making the human CGI acting, so that's really phenomenal. So I guess we'll see how this all goes down, but I just feel really bad for not for Marvel, for not Disney. I'll get it straight here in just a second. For the DC universe, because they've really, they didn't have anybody there
it seems like there's nobody at the helm that's really concentrating on marketing, story, the way that they've gone gung ho over at Marvel.
Right. Well, it's well written, well scripted. I mean, just actors extraordinary.
Actors are not as great as what's going on in Marvel, and because they've got heavy hitting actors in Marvel.
In Marvel, not and a lot of bad, I guess, talk about Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, I'm not invested in Batman or whoever plays him, but that's got to be the crappiest Batman. It's Ben Affleck's Batman.
Don't get me started. You know what's funny is Ben Affleck played Daredevil in another movie, and I think that's where he met Jennifer Gardner. But I was just really surprised. I was willing to let it go, but the only thing that I love Batman and I like the Flash. Those are kind of like my two major characters that I do like, a part of the DC universe. I was really happy that Wonder Woman finally got her movie, and it was a great movie.
That's the only redeeming thing about DC right now is her movie.
Is her movie. She's excellent in it, and
She's going to get another one?
Oh, I think I've heard
that this is...
I've heard that she's working on the sequel. Remember they were talking about something about they didn't want a particular director or something.
Because went down with,
Yeah.
But this Justice League bombing isn't going to hurt her film, do you think?
No, because she's a moneymaker.
Things you can't see.
Yeah, she knows how to make money. Yeah, so so I'm looking forward to the next Wonder Woman. In fact,
and that's why we don't have video in
bizarre enough, Chris Pine is supposed to be back in the second one, and in supposedly spoiler, sweetie.
In like flashbacks or something.
I don't know because he dies at the at least you assume he dies at the end. But, being the hero.
Maybe she put some magical powers on him when they hooked up.
No time. Maybe spending time, at Wonder Woman's ancestral land, made him impervious in some way.
Yeah, sure. That was it. Yeah.
So what else you got over there, Solana?
Well, you and I don't know if you did, but was it last night? I was howling with laughter watching the Drunk History Christmas special.
That was pretty good.
I was dying. The last guy was talking about, was it Roosevelt's kids or something, saying how they saved Christmas because he didn't want a tree in the house because he was a conservationist or something. And he was trying to name the kids, the sons' names. He was so drunk, he was saying, something. Then it was Kermit.
And for those who don't know about the show, basically, is it Derek Waters?
Just some guy called Derek Waters, and it started out on funnyordie.com as just a video bit, and then it kind of now it's like it's on Hulu. You can
Comedy Central,
Hulu, and bits and pieces on YouTube. But you can also purchase it as we do through Amazon Video. So. he would find his friends, get them drunk, and say, tell me about when this happened in history. So he'll tell you about a historical event, and they'll be so drunk, and they'll start rambling, or they'll burp, or, they'll fall. And go, I'm just going to lay down for a minute and tell you the story. So everything that comes out of the drunk person's mouth, they use that as the script. And then they go get the costumes, and they have people reenact it verbatim. With if there's burps or if they break character, they just keep going.
And this one was particularly funnier than usual. Even Colin Hanks was in it, the son of Tom Hanks.
He was playing Charles Dickens, and I said, he looks good like that.
Yeah, he had a little beard action going on and
crazy hair.
So that was a lot of fun, and we both had a good chuckle out of that.
I was howling with laughter.
If you can get a chance to check it out on YouTube or any other places, definitely do so.
You can only see short clips on YouTube, but that might be enough.
That's enough to get your palate wet, and Sirlon, I think I've asked you about this before. Did you ever see Gremlins?
It's going to be crazy. I'm fully aware of it. I know what it is. I know its place in pop culture and the significance, but I've never actually sat down and watched that movie.
And that's at the theater or at home, huh?
Never. I'm open to seeing it, though, if there's a way.
Well, it's surprising that you should say that, because this month they're reissuing or re-releasing. Yes, I'd get there. Gremlins, and in the theater between the 8th and the 26th. Yes.
Should we go?
I would like to see that in the theater again.
Alamo Drafthouse has it.
So they're going to re-release it. And here's a little quick quiz.
Is it a holiday-ish movie? Or
It is. It takes place during the Christmas holiday, so I guess you could call it a Christmas movie, and I'm getting to that point.
Slapsticky, isn't it?
So basically, to our space cadets, here's your first quiz of the night. Can you name the 3 things that the rules for having I guess a gremlin.
Mogwai?
Yeah, Mogwai.
See, I know all about
That's
it, but I've never
surprising.
seen it. I've never seen it.
So, name me the 3 rules that you need to do to take care.
I think I know them too.
Yeah, and so, I look forward to seeing what the space cadets come up with that.
Okay, I know 2.
Surprisingly, and we'll ask you in a minute, we'll quiz you here, Sirlon, with at least what you know. It is December. My God, the year is just about over. But this is the time to definitely watch some movies. And so I wanted to pick your brain as far as what are some of your favorite Christmas movies? I'm asking you.
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. This is what I'm being dealt with on a daily basis, people. I ask her questions, and usually she's got her headphones on, and I'm like, why do I even bother?
I'm going to have to say the ultimate all-time favorite is always going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's definitely on my list.
Because I can't take this touchy-feely, heartwarming things. That one's more real, like real world Christmas.
Right.
So, and I do have a fond memory of it. Actually going to see it on a whim. My parents went on a whim, took me with them, just because my mom had to sing. I don't want to go home. I want to see a movie. And we cried in the theater. We were laughing so hard. And that's one of these rare movies that's funny right. From the beginning to the end.
One step after another. And
it just doesn't let up.
It's definitely one of my favorites, too. We have at least one Christmas ornament of Christmas Vacation where it's I guess, the uncle's van.
We have several National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation ornaments. We're actually behind on them. There's some ones that came out in the last few years we didn't get, So
Christmas Vacation ranks high on your list. Is there any others you want to put in there? I know there's one you're missing that you like.
Hold on, let me do a quick
No,
research.
you can't look. You got to tell me.
I don't know them.
That's why I didn't want to tell you. I'm going to tell you what another one of your favorite is Elf.
Yes, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. You sit on a throne of lies.
So, okay, since you...
And I'm kind of over Christmas Story because they had just, they ran it over and over and over.
That's one of my favorites, a Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
My mother liked Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, if you consider that to be a holiday film.
It's all right.
I forget about Love Actually, but I mean, I don't really,
Well, before you go down the list, let me tell you some of my favorites. Die Hard. I
know. I've heard the argument.
It takes place at Christmas, and it's an action movie, so Die Hard is one of my favorite Christmas movies. Here's one that I know you don't like, but I do. And, the funny thing about this particular movie I'm about to tell you is this movie came out in the summer when it was released, and it wasn't that popular when it first came out. It's a Wonderful Life. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, even though it's, the time it came out and all that. But I kind of look at it as a Christmas movie because I remember watching it every Christmas time.
It's about Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, and, I love...
Therefore, it's Christmas.
Yeah, I love Jimmy Stewart. That man, old Potter.
I have never in my entire life sat down and watched that film.
Really?
And
Well,
I really don't want to.
Another favorite of mine is Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
Ugh, that's torture.
I like that one. One of my favorites.
I used to love Home Alone, but I'm kind of over it now,
Yeah. And then, of course, even going back younger, and I'm sure my sister is listening out there tonight, she'd probably agree with Charlie Brown Christmas. And then maybe Rudolph the Reindeer, when they did the claymation-looking thing. Those are a couple of good ones. Let's see, what else could I think of real quick here?
Hey, Gremlins is listed as a holiday film.
Yeah, because it takes place during the holiday times at Christmas because it's
Oh, wait a minute. Runner-up.
What?
I have a runner-up to National Lampoon.
Uh-oh, what?
I don't know. I might like it slightly better. I forget this is technically a holiday film. Trading Places.
Yeah, I guess.
Trading Places.
Well, I will say that that always piques my interest because I can't remember her name now. The Scream Queen from the 70s. What was her name? Come on, Sir Lana. I know
what are we talking about?
The actress that was in that.
What, Jamie Lee?
Jamie Lee Curtis. That's right. She was in that movie.
Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie?
I guess it must be taking place during that time. What about Scrooge? With Bill Murray?
It's all right. I've never seen the entire movie ever. I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
I'm really not surprised because another one is Frosty the Snowman. That's a classic for me. I know it's like a lot of these. Home Alone is another Christmas movie, but
I'm over it.
But anyway, yeah, those are. But I think we both can agree that
Shop Around the Corner.
Christmas Vacation is probably our most favorite.
The Shop Around the Corner came out in 1940. It's a black and white Christmas film that was later adapted into a movie called You've Got Mail. So that's another one for you.
Yeah, we got a lot of relatives out there listening tonight, and I just want to say hugs, loves, and rockets out there. And it's good.
My relative is missing, but that's all right.
But it's good to see you all tonight, and I hope you're having a pleasant evening. Speaking of relatives and good friends and all that good stuff, Sir Lana, the other night, I was, laying in bed, getting ready to doze off, and I came across a Facebook post from one of our space cadets. And I hope I'm not being too much on this, but apparently Bev was having an issue where she was going to have, I guess, some cataract surgery coming up, and the meds were going to be kind of costly, and it's kind of a shame because insurance out there is just,
it's horrible. I know firsthand.
They're a bunch of jerkosaurus, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And so I guess Bob had posted a GoFundMe account for trying to raise a little bit of change to take care of that, and they were asking for just $350, I think it was initially. I can't say that. I will say that I donated because I wanted to say this because how much I love Bob and Bev.
Indeed.
And you will agree when I say this, Sir Lana, is that, through the course of the show, we've had some times when we didn't even think that the show was going to keep going on, to be honest with you.
We're still having those times.
Yeah, we still do. But, when I got let go from a job, it was just very nerve-wracking, but Bev and Bob came to our rescue and helped donate some change to fund the universe, if you will, and kept us going. And, that's why if you go to our website at the very bottom, we recognize both of them as being a kind of a major supporter. And even at the end of our broadcast, we kind of mention them by name as well. And I tell you this because, both Bob and Bev are just wonderful people. If you've listened to the show enough, you know that it's not a night unless Bev calls in at the end and lets us know what's going on. And we wanted to just let you know, Space Cadets, and so also to let Bob and Bev know, according to, live on the air, how much we appreciate you guys. And we're just glad that your GoFundMe account, I guess, ended up raising over close to $3,500, and that's great. And I will say this, between the Space Cadets and Fadernauts, according to Fadernauts helped out immensely with that, and it just goes to show you the group that we all kind of run in, how charitable and how much Bob and Bev mean to all of us. So, once again, I just want to say we love you guys. We appreciate the support that you've given us over the past several years that we've been on the air. And we look to several more years with you guys listening and being a part of our universe.
I second that wholeheartedly. So,
but, it's just great to have wonderful people out there that listen to the show, and and it's growing, and it's great, and we appreciate those initial Space Cadets that were there at the beginning and continue to be a part of our show. And like I said, Bev and Bob are just two wonderful people, and we appreciate the heck out of them.
Indeed.
So, Sir Lana, we have a few more minutes to say something else. Did you have something there on the agenda?
I thought that would cover it for sure.
Well, I didn't want to be too long-winded. I mean, I just felt like we're not worthy. We're not. Mm-hmm. But
and I mean, you say that kind of thing much better than I do. I'm not good with the mushy stuff, as you can attest to. I'm not good with mushy stuff with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like I hurt myself. Well, whatever.
You were choking to death yesterday, and I'm like, well, he'll probably be okay.
I was literally giving her signs to come beat me on the back of my back, because I was literally. What happened was I had bacon bits of all things.
Why?
On this thing. And I sucked up a bacon bit the wrong way, and
you're supposed to chew, not suck up food.
Well, the bacon bits are small, but anyway, the thing is that I'm dying over there, and she's like, have you seen that meme with the raccoon, and he's got his hands put together like soon. That's what I had to deal with. I was like, and I had to throw stuff at her to like beat my back, and
I came over, and I was like double fisting, beating your back on the.
And I mean, yeah, it was in the way she was beating my back.
I was wailing on it.
I think she was getting too much satisfaction out of it because, I heard a giggle or something in there, and for a second,
you did.
Yeah. So I mean, I felt like okay, I'm going to die right here in this chair from a bacon bit and from Sir Lana.
And I'll never stop laughing.
Beating my back. God, that was like. So
the deadly bacon bit.
Yeah, I know. So the moral
sounds like an Agatha Christie story.
The moral of the story is, a bacon bit may take you down, but just enjoy the bacon as it puts you out of your misery. So that's what I've got to say on that, and I'm sticking to it.
Weirdo.
And finally, according to Shalana, this is a news update. The king of meat is roast beef.
Yeah. I guess just ham is just, I don't know, ham's overrated. Everyone's like, oh, ham. Who gives a crap about ham? If you've got a good sirloin or roast beef or pulled brisket, why would you ever want anything else? Ham. I mean, it's salty, it's hammy.
There are different flavors of ham. I don't know what ham you've been sucking off of.
I don't know why people want to put
what's salty
sweet
ham
things in it.
I mean, I like to put a pineapple on, a ham. That's always delicious. Or brown sugared ham. I mean, there's different flavors of ham you can get.
I don't care
Black
for
Forest,
I don't like maple. I don't
old
like
fashioned.
No.
Anyway, so we're going to take a break and we'll bring our guest on. Solana, I know this is live, but do you have the bio ready?
Yes.
Awesomeness. So stay right there and we'll be back. You're listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network. We'll be right back.
Dan McFarlane is a pro skateboarder and instructor. After climbing through the ranks of the skateboard industry, doing well in contests, and his sponsors turning him pro, he eventually set off on his own to create Mentality Skateboards in 2003 and the best-selling instructional video Skateboarding Explained. After release of this hit excuse me, video skateboarding realms. He was signed to American Ramp Company and helped design their Pro Ops obstacle series. 2 of the 14 Pro Ops obstacles bear his signature and are being installed in skate parks worldwide. Mentality Skateboards and Skateboarding Realms video trailer and the Pro Ops ramps are now featured in the first ever virtual reality skateboarding video game, Hover Skate VR. And Dan is here tonight to tell us all about it. Welcome, Dan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be meeting with you and talking about everything that I've been up to and Hover Skate VR and skateboarding in general.
Cool. And I want to apologize. Apparently, when I wrote your name down earlier, I put McFarland, and I don't know why I did that. And so I give you an apology, and
I straightened him out.
I hope we'll still be friends.
Thanks, Sirlana. Yeah, it's a common misspelling. Mine's the correct way to spell it. McFarlane, like Seth.
Yes. So, when we first met you, it was at Maker Faire back in October, I believe. And I think, we had gone over to check out the VR stuff. And could you remind us who was the lady you were with again?
So I was there with Exodus VR, which is the only virtual reality game room or escape room in the state of Texas. And Dora was kind enough to let me promote Hover Skate VR at her booth so that more people can play it. And actually, I don't even own a VR headset or anything. I'm new to VR. And so in trying to find this equipment and trying to avoid making the investment before I try it, I found Exodus, and she let me come into her shop on 59 in Chimney Rock and play the game for the first time. So, it led to us being at the George R. Brown Convention Center, and we had lines of people around the booth for hours on end, and it just got the biggest response from people who don't even skate.
Yeah, it was very exciting to see. I mean, when we reported on the Maker Faire this year, the things that we noticed, one was the 3D printing was huge compared to the year before. Mm-hmm. But also what was huge, and I think even bigger than the 3D printing, was the VR. And you saw the long lines. I got to play a game that I got to play back at Comic Palooza earlier the year. And it's just really an exciting time for VR because how much the technology has come along. And, would you agree to that?
Yeah, there are guys next to our booth that were doing physical therapy, virtual reality training. And I had a knee surgery last year, so I began to tell them about what I was going through and even connected them with my physical therapist. So that was actually something that was new and just unimaginable in years previous to now. So it's all over the place, and maybe we can do a skateboard instructional virtual reality trainer or something like that. It's very you're really immersed in it, and it's quite amazing.
And we do want to get into that, but I want to backtrack a little bit and learn more about you. Are you a native Texan Houstonian, or what's your background?
Yes, I was born in Houston at Herman Hospital. I found skateboarding in Houston, and I've developed my skills here. I lived in California for a few years. That's how I turned pro, and it's kind of like an actor. You have to go to Hollywood, basically. And so, but I always ended up coming back home, and we have so much amazing terrain here to skate, and we have the largest skate park in North America, in North Houston, and there's just an amazing skate scene here. So I really love Houston and everything it's got going on for skateboarding and just for living in general.
Well, I was looking at some of your videos. I'm guessing these are a little bit older, but the ones you've got on YouTube, it looks like you'll skate anything that is standing still. Yes. I've been skateboarding before my knee surgery. I hit my 30th year skateboarding. And so in the 80s, when I said skate or die, I meant it.
you know. And now I'm back. I'm skating a ton. The doctors did a great job on my knee. I had a stem cell therapy.
Wow.
Which you hear about now. Like, they, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, they said, oh, your knee's never going to heal. You tore your meniscus. I was in despair. I was just waiting for the day my knee was going to snap, as they told me. It didn't snap, but after doing my latest video, Skateboarding Realms, I began to notice less range and more pain. And that has nothing to do with age. But what it really was happening is a bone spur had developed in my knee. It was 3/4 of an inch. So when they went in there and scoped it, they were amazed to find that thing and pull it out. And, it was like pulling a thorn out of your skin. It was a huge relief, and the irritant's gone. And the physical therapy was one of the hardest things I ever dealt with, because your knee is so intricate and you have to keep bending it and stretching it. I was having to stretch up to 6 times a day, but it really did the job, and I'm back, and I feel better than I have in 12 years or more. So, when you use the latest technology and you do what it takes to battle through an injury like that, you can come out better than you were before. It's like the Bionic Man or something,
So Dan, tell us a little bit about the younger you. Tell us how you were as a child, and what got you into skating or skateboarding and all that good stuff.
Well, before I skateboarded, I was just a normal kid. I played baseball. I was really good at baseball. I hit multiple grand slams and home runs and pitched strikeouts and played for Westbury Little League. But then I saw Back to the Future, and I'm throwing the pop culture references in for you guys and your audience, because that's what you guys are all about. But it's really a true story that skateboarding wasn't really in the pop culture at that time, and we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have this exposure to skateboarding being a mainstream thing. And so just by the simple act of Michael J. Fox supposedly rolling around, and he looked like he was having fun, that looked like something I wanted to do. And so I had a skateboard a little bit before that, but I just kind of rolled on it. And then it inspired me to play with that a little bit more. And once I learned a 180 kick turn, which is one of the most fundamental tricks, I was hooked, because when you learn a new trick on a skateboard, it's one of the greatest feelings, because it's all you. You have to. It's like accomplishing a level at a video game. So you're always chasing that buzz of learning something new. And I find, honestly, I'm going to add this in there, I find, honestly, that when I stop learning, then I tend to become burned out, So even right now in my rehabilitation, I'm relearning 7 to 14 tricks a session, and learning tricks I've never done in my life. And so anyway, so once I felt that first kick turn, I decided to quit baseball and because I realized I didn't need a coach, I didn't need a team, and I didn't have to beg my brother to play catch with me. And so I became hooked, and it just developed from there. And especially when I got sponsors in a few years later at the skate park of Houston, which was one of the largest skate parks in the world at that time. I mean, it was a major hub for pros like Tony Hawk to come and compete. You'll see it in the Bones Brigade documentary or Danny Way's documentary, Waiting for Lightning, and many others, because this is before the X Games. This is where people came. So once I was exposed to that, I said, hey, this is what I want to do. And I would go up to these pros and just ask them for tips, or just by simply skating with these people. I was just like, look, dude, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I'm still doing it, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for continued opportunities, like being interviewed by you and being in the video game and creating new works. Like I'm writing a book.
Oh, awesome.
I'm actually making a best of compilation edit. So you said you saw my older stuff on YouTube. I'm not real big on like just continuously living my life for YouTube. So I kind of like, I try to like put my stuff on other places. Like my latest video, Skateboarding Realms, is on iTunes. So,
Right.
But this compilation edit will be what you would have referenced if I would have had it up there. So I really need to get this done and get these other things done so I can move on to new levels with my skating. And you know, skateboarding is just, you know, it's like being an artist. You know, you never want to stop and you never expect to stop. It's a lifestyle. It's one of the best things that I've ever done in my life.
I will agree with you. It is a lifestyle. I know that when I was in high school, you know, you had the different cliques you would hang out with, and even though I was kind of more of a Ferris Bueller type during high school, I tend to hang out with the skaters. Just the fashion, the khaki pants, the Converse or Vans we would always wear, you know. The attitude, you know, it was like, and I understand where you're coming from. It's that attitude is just a way of being one with the board. Unfortunately, you know, I did skateboard for a while. I personally had a situation where I landed the wrong way, and I said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. It hurt so bad that I was like, okay, I don't think I can handle landing that way. But anyway, but I still appreciate it because I have such fond memories of hanging out with these guys and just the attitude and the way and the dress, and it's just a feeling that I don't think I can compare it to many other things that have happened in my life. And skateboarding is just a wonderful vehicle.
Yeah, well, I really wish my instructional video, Skateboarding Explained, was around when you began, because then you could have learned how to build into it. You know,
Right.
A lot of people get on the board and they try an ollie immediately, and they'll slip out and fall on their hip, and they never want to try it again. But that feeling that you got as a teenager, you know, I would say that I still experience that. Like when I'm on my board, your age doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the worries of the world don't matter. You know, it's just you and the board and the trick that you're about to go for. That's what matters in that moment. And so to be able to keep at it is a great thing. And I'll have to say this, Space Boys, that it's never too late. You can start. You can start now, and
It is too late.
I'll give you a free lesson, man.
It is too late because our health insurance is not good.
But you know, the thing is that you know, what I love about the current situation though is, you know, friends that I've had back in the late 80s, early 90s that were skateboarding, they're still doing it today, and they're teaching their kids to do it.
Yep.
and be a part of it. You know, for me, it was more of a way to you know, not having a car. You know, I did biking, but you know, it was fun doing the skateboarding, and it's just an easy way to pack it away in a bag, and you know, and it was just so all encompassing, you know, convenient and fun, and yeah, it did bring out a part of me that of my youth that I enjoy. But you know, I still have other things I enjoy, and I'm just very happy to see skateboarding becoming what it is today. Like a sport, you know, that you know, wasn't recognized back then, that it is the way it is now, where, you know, like you were saying, you have sponsors now, and that's just really fantastic and cool. And then plus it's kind of cool, like, you know, me growing up, I guess the one person that just kind of just pops in my head right now is Tony Hawk. And,
of course.
and I mean, the legend himself, and, seeing him doing, the stuff that he's still doing today, and I guess involving his children. So, I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon.
Exactly.
But it all comes back to almost like, a Zen thing, if you will, Dan.
It is.
It kind of brings you one with nature via a board and wheels, and it's that attitude that really takes you places.
It's meditation in motion.
Exactly.
How did
Yeah,
you...
like...
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When you're going for a skateboard trick, if you think one negative thought, it can literally cause you to fall. So you have to just be totally in that Zen state, focused on your movements and feeling it, being there completely. And it's such a great feeling to be in that state. So what was your question?
My question was, how did you come to create Mentality Skateboards?
Okay, so I had many sponsors in the 90s and went through the process, went to California, and Vision turned me pro, and I was on the pro circuit, and Vision licensed their brand to someone else, and they dropped the whole pro team. So at that point, I just decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. And I wanted to make something that represented what I thought skateboarding was about. And your mentality has everything to do with riding the skateboard and the lifestyle that goes along with it. So I thought that was a perfect brand name. And I started it right here out of Houston and built it up. And we ended up getting national distribution, and we're even in Australia. Our videos have ended up worldwide, and it led me to doing that instructional video, Skateboarding Explained, like the entrepreneurship aspect. I think if I would have stayed under the thumb of these other sponsors, I wouldn't have learned entrepreneurship and said, hey, you know what? I could take these lessons that I'm doing and replicate myself and put it into a DVD. And so that DVD ended up selling 200,000 copies, and it's like recommended by the New York Times, and it's made a huge impact in the world, I think, because I still to this day get people messaging me saying thanks for teaching me how to kickflip and stuff like that. And so to me, at that point, I really, it was neat to be good or whatever, and I was like ranked top 20 on the World Cup overall pro circuit. And I was like, look, man, I want to give back. I want to give the extra knowledge that I have back to the skate world in a way that me and Spaceboy didn't have. We didn't have instructors. We didn't have a place to go and learn this. And this is pre-YouTube, by the way. This is I began working on it in like 2002 technically, but I didn't really begin working on it until 2005. And then it didn't come out till like 2007. It was a big process, and all that. But so doing Mentality led me to doing Skateboarding Explained, then Skateboarding Realms, and then that knowledge led me to doing, working. Well, first I got signed as a pro by from Gershon Mosley, who's an amazing legend, and I hugely respect him, with American Ramp Company. And then he broke away, but the owner wanted me to help design these ramps, and now we're doing those things are spreading around the world. So this all became connected. It's kind of like a music artist that you hear about that was signed to perform a certain way, and then when they broke away from their record label, they became more avant-garde, and then they created this ultimate classic, unique album that would have never happened if they would have stayed under that label. And so that's what I can relate to with breaking away from going independent. So it's been a really great journey. And even writing a book, like I had people, you have a magazine that's going to publish my book, and that would have never happened if I would have stayed on these other companies. I would have kept trying to keep up with the Joneses And I would have actually said, oh, you know, I'm done. Because see, when you get a bone spur in your knee, you can't keep jumping down handrails. But what that led me to do is invent new ways to skate, which you will see in skateboarding realms. And actually, that was the most rewarding skating for myself that I've ever done, because it was original. So, and I'm seeing like other people doing some of this stuff or similar stuff. So I think skateboarding realms was part of the creative skateboarding movement, and I think it made a good impact in that way. So
when you're doing your videos, is it just, hey, you grab a camera and you just start filming? You have somebody film, or what's your process when you do that? I know you're not like, how can I describe it? It's just not like you're diving in with a crew of professionals. I mean, what is your process involved with when you're doing the filming?
Well, in the past, when I had other sponsors, they would have like, you know, they'd want me to have filmers, and they would send filmers to me, and we'd just, you know, kind of like have tricks in mind at certain skate spots that we find, and film the tricks. And honestly, that was cool, but if you get a filmer who doesn't really skate, they don't understand the process.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a little bit annoying because they don't understand, like, look, man, you know, you have to, it's not like these tricks are not usually first try. You know, these tricks, you have to work for them, and you have to learn how to skate the spot that's not made for skateboarding. And so when I did Skateboarding Realms, all those digital cameras came out, like flip camera, GoPro, and all these things, and people began getting conditioned to watching that type of video, and I saw it as an opportunity to do like a pretty much self-filmed part. And so I had like 2 cameras set up at different angles, and I loved it because I could sit there and experiment way more than I ever could before, and it led me to being able to come up with a lot more tricks than I'd ever done in my life. Or like previously, I wouldn't say in my life, but previously I'd have to kind of work with the filmer and all this stuff. And now it's like it's unlimited with the digital. And also in the past we had to deal with, like, you know, the DV tapes or the high 8 tapes or the VHS tapes.
Now you've got like
movie
GoPro and good stuff like that.
Digital MP4s and
yeah, so you would have to do stuff that you knew you could land within a limited amount of time. Now with the digital, you can just, you know, your disc can become full, and you clear out you erase everything, and you're still going. You didn't have to go to the store and buy a new tape. So, you know, there's all these new ways, and I see lots and lots of people, it's all over the internet, it's all over TV or whatever, where, you know, people are just self-filming and it looks great. And if you get Final Cut, you can kind of like, you can make it look like, it's called the Ken Burns effect. You can make it look like the camera's following. So, but I'll do a mix. I mean, there's some shots in that video where people are filming me, but ultimately, you know, my advice is this: work with what you have, do your best, you know, step outside your comfort zone, assess where you've been, and set new goals, and give it your all, because that's what life's all about, and that's what taking yourself to new levels are all about. Because when you do that, certain people see that and they'll say, hey, I want to help him, or I want to interview you, or I want to distribute that video. So just do your best, and the technology now allows you to self-produce music, books, you know, videos, or whatever, in ways that were never previously possible, including distribution. So it's pretty amazing.
It's a topic that we've talked about many times here at Spaceboy Universe. Myself being the musician, you know, it's such an easy time, because at the late 90s, you know, MP3s were like, okay, what's this all about? And now it's kind of like at the point where, you know, I can master an album and put it up to the internet and get it distribution to Amazon, iTunes, all that great stuff. And I didn't have to go to a major label company, and that's why we're so pro indie artists here at the Universe. It's amazing. So, and I guess that kind of cuts across, just exactly with what you're doing. And I was going to backtrack here for a second before we're going to get to the top of the hour. Is that when you were talking about the video and you get the chance to look at your skill when you're working on a trick or a maneuver, or it gives you an opportunity to perfect that. Because when you said that, it reminded me of how they film golfers to get that perfect swing. And they go back and kind of look it over, and I guess that you could kind of apply it to football and other things. It's just a wonderful medium now, more so with the digital onslaught of GoPros and all that. But now
even the iPhone,
and now you've got little mini drones that are capable of keeping track with you. They stay with you, so they I need one of those constantly. I saw one of these and I thought, wow, that is really kind of cool. And I started thinking of the many things you could do with that. And skateboarding would be just like right up the alley for a use with something like this. And so, I'm
looking for a mini drone sponsor now.
Yeah, you should definitely get connected to something like that. So, hey, Dan, we're at the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and take our break. And when we come back, we'll have more conversations, and maybe Solano.
Take a caller.
Yeah, we'll take a caller if there's somebody who wants to call in, and we'll go from there. So stand by. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe on the PAUK Radio Network.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to start talking to Dan. We're going to talk about the virtual reality aspect. So, how did you go from everything you've been into getting into hover skate VR?
Well, I had a supporter or a fan on Facebook. I would call him more of a supporter. I hate calling my supporters fans, but he goes by the name of Yerman Poger on the internet, and he said, "Hey man, there's this new virtual reality game, and you got to be in it. Your board's mentality has to be in it, and it's so sick. You have no idea. It's the best thing ever." And so he connected me with the game developer John Hinton out of Florida, and that was it. And he said, "Yeah, I want to put your boards in the game." And I was super pumped. And then he watched Skateboarding Realms. He's like, "Look, in our skate shop, we want to put the video trailer for Skateboarding Realms." And then, as that was being developed, I just got signed on to American Ramp Company, and I said, "Hey, check out these new ramps that I'm developing," because I just began updating them on everything I was doing. And he said, "Look, man, I want to make a full level of that in the game." And so that's really it. And I'm very honored to be in it and to see my boards and the video and the ramp designs of just in this game and being playable. I mean, I think that's like one of the benchmarks for any pro skater to have their stuff in a game or themselves in a game.
Well, I'm looking at the Steam store, which is steampowered.com, and Spaceboy and I have been on Steam for about, 2 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Because
she roped me into this.
Yeah, I'm not a console gamer. We have an old Wii. That's about as exciting as we got. But when I found out about Steam, Steam's for PC, Mac, and Linux people. Okay. So, and it has a wide variety of games that you can get. So it's something for everybody. So I'm looking at Hover Skate VR on Steam right now. So how do you take the physical experience of being on a skateboard into VR? What's the hardware like? What's the experience like?
Well, the game developer John Hinton is an actual skateboarder. Mm-hmm. And so he made this game to represent skateboarding as closely as he could. So if you have two natural stances on a skateboard, regular footed, which means your natural stance is with your left foot forward, or goofy footed, which means your natural stance is with your right foot forward. And so you pick a stance from the beginning of the game, and you have to go through these tutorials, and you're controlling the board standing with your body sideways, whichever foot is dominant, and you begin learning your tricks. And the learning curve and the feeling of the movement is very similar to actually riding a skateboard, but without physically scuffing yourself up or even hurting yourself. So it takes that danger factor out of it, and you're really immersed in it. And it truly feels like you're skateboarding when you jump up onto the rail, and then learning a new trick. Well, I would say learning the trick, since you're controlling it with your hands. The accomplishment feeling is the same, but it's a little bit different controlling your hands. But if you're a true skater, you're gonna move your hands exactly how your feet would move. So it's very close. It's as accurate as it can get without someone controlling it with their feet. And I think that would be the next thing. So anyway, it's a very cool feeling. And I would say, like the previous skateboarding games, people would control it only with their thumbs with the game controller. So this is the next step. This is the next level. Mm-hmm. And once again, like when you're sliding down the rail, you feel like you're going downward, which was something I had to get used to, because I when you take off the VR headset, you know, feel like you're still moving a little bit. Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh yeah, it's mind blowing when I think about when I've interacted with some of these VR games.
Well, you've played the games. Our first taste of VR was at Comic Palooza earlier this year with Exodus VR and their setup. So he went over there to do it, And then when I came back, because, I'm more of a graphic artist person, so I did the one where you draw in space and then you can go around the other side and see what from the back side you're drawing. And so that was... I don't know what that feeling is like. It's very... you can't relate it to
Let
anything.
me sidetrack here with pop culture here. When Nintendo first came out with the Virtual Boy, which it's not a virtual machine whatsoever.
How old are we?
Yeah, just pointing this particular piece of technology out. Let's face it, it was crap. It wasn't. But and as technology came along, and virtual reality would peak up every once in a while. It's like that looks massive to be wearing. As far as the headset is, but when I got the chance to slap on, an
that
Oculus
goes
Rift,
away for some reason. The fact you got something on your face just kind of
right.
goes away.
I was just so blown away by how I didn't get motion sickness because I do get the first person shooter thing. I love Doom, but I can't play it because it just makes me sick.
But this is more like life, like just
walking
it's like
around. You're walking around and stuff. It's just amazing. And I was going to point
third person.
I was going to say with your game, I imagine it gives you a kind of a virtual tutorial to make a stepping stone to get across the river to actually make it to the next step. Would you agree to something like that?
Yes, it does. And people are learning fairly quickly. The game developer John Hinton says that it takes up to 2 hours. I would have to agree with that. But once you get it going, you're in there. And like for me as a skateboarder, it took me maybe like 10 minutes to start landing tricks. And I thought I was in that world. So it was nuts. I mean, remember in the 90s, like we saw Lawnmower Man and all that?
Yes.
These people are living in that world, and that's the future. Well, you know what? The future's now, and it's Hover Skate VR.
Yeah, it's funny to think back upon, what they thought virtual reality would be. But, I think that from more recently, it would be, I imagine that we're trying to build towards the Matrix. Not to say that we need to be put into the Matrix, but to be able to...
I don't want to be.
to be able... I guess what I'm using the Matrix as a VR that seems so real that when you go in, it's like every day. And so I can only imagine at some point we'll reach a thing where, like your game, in the future, where you're total submerged and you can play these different ramps and these different places and interact with your favorite idols. And so I can only imagine what the future holds for gaming such as yours.
Yeah, I can see that was a good idea with the interacting with your favorite pro skater and hanging out with them and drinking a Coke and then doing some tricks.
Right.
That would be insane. So that's a great idea, and I can see that definitely happening in the future.
Copyrighted Spaceboy 2017. But yeah, it'd be that's just that's something.
And
that
maybe
I
they
look
have
forward
some
to,
Spaceboy music playing now.
You never know. So and
I'm looking at the locations of the in the Hover Skate VR, and one of them's a church, so you get to skate in a church.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, there's I that might be a new one because I didn't know there was that.
Yeah, there's a terminal. Yeah, I was looking at different places. There's a terminal and a church, and I can't figure out what this other one is.
Since we're on the subject of your game here, and just curious, I see some of the shoes and they look kind of cool looking. I wished I could own some of them. Like there's this pair of red ones that look like a pair of Vans, but
what if you customize your shoes?
That's what I was getting ready to say. With these games, you get to customize them. Is that something that you could probably do in the future with your boards? Have custom boards, custom shoes.
The boards are there, like once again, the Mentality skateboards and some other brands are in there, and but yeah, I can definitely see that. When you walk in, what he wanted to do though is when you walk into the skate shop is like walking into an actual skate shop where you pick what they have available.
Right.
But yeah, to be able to customize your own shoes, that would be a huge thing as well. So
and some of the boards in the shop, this virtual shop, are really cool. I just I'm only just thinking out of the box because this technology just it's just so cool when I get into it, and then they combine it with skating. It's like we haven't really seen anything like this, and I'm in awe because there's so much that could be added, and I can just see so much potential here that it sounds like
we don't have a VR headset or anything, but my desktop says it's VR ready because it's got all the specs.
Oh, nice.
So if we just get it, then I think
it's an inevitability. Since we've been doing Steam, we kind of left the consoles behind because it was kind of like, I like games over here, and this system doesn't offer that, and then it's vice versa, and Steam just
probably because we're so old school.
Well, we are with the computers and stuff, but the thing is that I imagine at some point we'll probably get an Oculus Rift because we had such a great time at Comic Palooza and then Maker Faire, and this would definitely be on our list to get, and it looks like it's just a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah, having your own headset will allow you to actually learn the game fully, and to go into all of those levels. So that would be a very good investment.
Have you seen, and I don't know the name of it, Dan, but it was this other skateboard game, and it was very buggy, and
you're not talking about Skate or Die, are you?
I think it was Skate or Die, and one of the challenges was to break as many bones as you can.
I don't remember that challenge, but I remember the game Skate or Die.
First off, I apologize, Dan.
I have a sick sense of humor.
She's in this mood, it's December mood, where she gets some kind of sick fascination off of hurting people, and I happen to be the voodoo doll, if you will.
I just thought that was funny. It's like try to break as many bones as you can, and they would show you your bones, which ones would go red and break, and so.
Nice. I've not seen that. That's pretty.
Well, I watch other gamers. I don't know why I'm almost 46 and watch people play. I don't play games. I watch people play games.
I constantly remind her it's not the age, it's the state of mind.
Well, that's not reassuring either.
And I think Dan is, in the previous hour, he was, saying, just it's not something where it's time to hang up the board. It's a lifetime commitment. If you love it, then it becomes you, and I can see that. And I appreciate that about you, Dan.
Thank you. I want to add this is, I see these groups on Facebook like Skaters Over 40 and this and that, and they like to say, I'm over 40, therefore I can't do this. You know what that is? That's a cop-out. That's a crutch. Like, we are all aging every single day from the day you're born. And so I say that, you need to constantly assess where you're at, what your skills and abilities are. Take an honest, brutal look at that. Look at your resources, like what you have to skate, how much time you have, and then do your best with that. Mm-hmm. And if you're taking action on that, you're going to naturally progress. And another thing is to make sure that you're learning, because whether you're 20 or you're 80, when you stop learning, you're old. Mm-hmm. So skateboarding allows that, as long as your joints are moving and this and that. And you're in generally good health, you can definitely skate for a lot longer than previously thought. And you mentioned Tony Hawk earlier. That's someone I look at all the time. He just came out with a new video part in the Birdhouse video called Saturdays. Right. You can get it on iTunes. And he's about to be 50, if not already 50 now. But he released this new part at 49 years old, and it's his best work thus far. And he does an insane handrail ender off of a vert ramp, which is just bone crushing at any age. And so he is a prime example of what you can become when you focus and you are passionate about skateboarding, and you continually progress your skills and you stay in it and live the lifestyle to the fullest, and don't have self-limiting thoughts and ideas. A lot of this too, it's like when I train people, I have to teach them how to have a positive inner dialogue. So what I've noticed about, other pros is when I'm around them, they're not sitting there saying they're old. They're not sitting there saying, oh, I can't do that, or I'm going to try this, because trying implies failure. You need to say, I'm going to do this. I'm working on this. a lot of this is your mentality, and it's
Do
all
or do not.
I was thinking of
Yoda.
Do not to try, or how is it? What does he say? He says,
Do or do not.
Yeah,
There's no try.
There is no try.
Okay, you're dork.
Exactly. Well, definitely. I believe that is a Yoda quote. So, but trying implies failure for sure, and I don't say that to myself. I never say that I'm going to try this. I said I'm going to do this.
You'd be a heck of a motivational speaker.
Well, Dale Carnegie sponsored me a couple years ago, but since I don't have a bachelor's degree, they didn't put me on their circuit, so that's fine. I'm a skateboarder 100%. This is what I do. I'm actually glad that didn't happen because I'd rather be, and I'm going to send this to them now. Thanks, Dale Carnegie, for the training, but they missed out when they didn't hire me. So, but that is what I am when I'm out there training people. Like I taught Michael Strahan on DIY Network 10 years ago before he won the Super Bowl. And that's when I was even working with him. I'm motivating him. I'm helping him overcome his fears, and I'm helping him reach a goal on the skateboard. And you can take that lesson and apply it to anywhere else in life. Skateboarding the principles that are taught in skateboarding go way beyond just the act of skateboarding. So it's everything to me, I like to pass that on to everyone. So look for my book when it comes out, because I'm definitely instilling a lot of this wisdom into it.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're at one with the universe, and it's refreshing to hear somebody being positive. I can't begin to tell you how much that I personally feel that a little positive energy goes a long way. And
he's staring at me when he's saying that. It's not working on me.
Now, we're getting close. We got about 10 minutes here, Dan, and I always like to make sure that people have an opportunity when they come on the universe to promote their Facebook, their Twitter, the social media, where they can find you. And of course, you mentioned a book. So, if you want to take this opportunity to kind of hit the fine points there, this is your opportunity.
Okay, number one, I refuse to live at the mercy of social media, feeling the social pressures of creating content daily. I'm more focused on riding my skateboard and creating new tricks. And so I only post when I feel like it. And I suggest that everyone out there steps outside of the matrix and lives in reality and outside of virtual reality even, and smells the roses, hug your pets, hug your children or whatever, and keep setting new goals in reality. So, but when I am online, I'm mostly on Facebook, so facebook.com/McFarlane Dan. That's my personal. I have a fan page, which I update every now and then. I have dan-macfarlane.com. That's MacFarlane.com. I have Twitter, Instagram, and mentalityskateboards.com, skateboardingexplained.com, skateboardingrealms.com, and keep your eyes on my Facebook and Instagram and dan-macfarlane.com for the book announcement. I mean, I'm not done writing it, but that should be coming out in 2018 for sure. I'm using this interview to pressure myself to go ahead and finish, because the story is finished, and I think it's quite interesting. I want to tell can I take this moment to tell what it's about?
Yes, tonight is all about you, Dan.
So this book is not just about me. It's about how skateboarding was when I began, how it evolved, how I evolved with it, and where I think it's going. It's a historical perspective of Houston, Texas,
awesome.
in the mid 80s through the present. And also stories about being in California, being in the industry. Like I skated with certain legendary pros on certain days, and I'll tell what that's like, and I'll tell what it was like to hang out with Michael Strahan, the football star, for 4 days and stuff like that. and it should be pretty interesting for any reader who skates or doesn't skate. But I'm as a true skater, I'm aiming towards my fellow skaters, and I want to make something that is it's a memoir, it's a autobiography, and it's a historical account. So I really want to definitely get that out finally in 2018. I'm really happy that my Pro Ops obstacles, which are now installed in West Orange, New Jersey, and East Haven, Connecticut. I'm really happy that those are out and that people are skating these things that came out of my brain, along with the owner of ARC. We collaborated and made up that ramp over breakfast. But it's incredible to see these things out there, and I think the story should be told now. I think the best of compilation edit should be released. And then also after that, I want to continue to make new videos, keep teaching, keep speaking. Like I spoke at NASA a while back, and it was pretty incredible. And I want to keep spreading the gospel of skateboarding and skateboarding for life. So
well, I was going to say, Dan, is that it's awesome that you are so you're focused. You have a love in your life. And it's a vehicle. It seems like it's taking you in many directions, and it's very refreshing to hear. When you mentioned the social media thing, I totally understand where you're coming from, because you want to be in the moment of what you enjoy and you love. And I know the social media is not necessarily a high priority with you, which is awesome. I think,
but we're still following you anyway.
Yeah, we're still following
Thank
you
you.
anyway. And
I just wanted to throw that out there, because when you're doing a skate trick, if you're just as I said earlier, when you're doing a skate trick and you think one negative thought and how it can make you fall, if you're doing a skate trick and you're thinking, how many likes am I getting? Like all this, that little voice, because that's those. If you live your life for social media and how many you judge your worth on how many likes and followers you have, you're not you need a reality check. So
do you think skateboarding was more pure for you before the advent of the internet and social media?
Yes, it was.
It was.
Yes, it was.
I have to agree with Dan, because
more
it was
holistic
it was
feeling.
there was a state of mind before the internet came along, and
It's a distraction.
End of innocence
Yeah.
in a certain way.
And now you have to maintain your career as a pro, you have to have a social media presence.
You
but
have to, yeah.
Back then, I like sitting silent. Like when I'm thinking of these tricks, I'm sitting silent under a street light or in an alleyway or in my car.
See, that sounds pure.
With my radio off. And that's when the best thoughts come to my mind. And that's, those are the things that brought me a signature ramp and got me in the video game. And I want people to consider that. When you're on social media, you're basically keeping up with the Joneses. You're either learning what the Joneses are doing, you're judging other people, you're being judged. When you're focused on yourself in your world, you are at your prime state to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. There's so
He's
many
preaching at you over there.
I'm thinking of all the different broadcasters and people that we follow and keeping up with
and
them.
Just before you go, Dan, people in our chat are loving you, and they've really enjoyed you being here. Just so you know,
Awesome.
they think you're awesome.
So
Thank you.
when you do come out with your book, sir, I hope that you'll let us know so that we can.
Of course, we keep an eye on him too.
Since you're not into the social media, let us take care of you, and we'll toot your horn for you and put it out there, and because we like whenever our guest comes on,
Especially Houstonian.
we appreciate
Thank
you
you.
taking the time out to be a part of our universe, and it's the least we can do to say, hey, he's got a new book out, or hey, he's doing this or he's doing that. So just keep us posted.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I want to add one more thing. I'm about to start a new skateboard brand, and you guys are going to love it. So I'm actually breaking out of the matrix of the skateboard industry even more with this one. So we'll see what happens with it. But until then, I'm just skating, creating, and staying healthy. And I'm really pumped up on my new and improved bionic knee and abilities. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. And thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone in the chat. dan-macfarlane.com. And by the way, Skateboarding Realms is available on iTunes. If you want to go see my best work, is that video part, I think. And also Skateboarding Explained, the DVD, makes a perfect stocking stuffer for this upcoming Christmas. All right, guys, I appreciate your support, and I'm signing out.
All right. Thank you, Dan,
Dan,
for being a part of our universe tonight.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right.
Awesome.
So we're at the bottom of the hour, Sir Lana, and let's go ahead and take our break. And when we come back,
I want to talk some more about VR.
we'll talk about that. And it's about the Space Cadets. So, if they want to call home, that's great. We'll have all communications open for them to do that. Just to let them know, that number is 713-701-5214. That's 713-701-5214.
I'm typing it up too.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to
Sometimes
think.
it goes away in
Yeah.
your brain.
So hold that thought, Sir Lana. Hey, this is Spaceboy, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU Network. Hey everyone, this is Space Boy. You know, tonight we're playing various Space Boy music cuts, and as I like to tell the audience, if you want to own a piece of Space Boy music, you can do so by going to spaceboymusic.com. A lot of the music, like I said, gets played throughout the course of the evening. In fact, our last show we did with the Space Boy Music Live during the SBU show was quite a big hit. So, you know, if you want a song here or there, they're reasonably priced. Go check it out. The current album that's the latest is Unique Technique. Has 18 wonderful tracks that you can bug out to. But other than that, it's a pretty great gift that you can give for Grandma. So go ahead and head on over to spaceboymusic.com.
So she can learn how to skate and listen to music.
Yes, indeed. So we're back after our break. And, you know, I like Dan. He seems like he has a lot of positive energy about him. And
yeah, it makes me feel like a terrible person. Well, I let's face it, I am a terrible person, and I don't see any need to change.
But so yeah,
I'm enjoying it too much.
As we've talked before with other people, you know, I'm like the yin to your yang. You know, I'm the positive one, and you tend to be a little negative, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. It's just
it's pretty bad.
You know,
it's fine.
You know, I'm
definitely off my meds.
Yeah, so you know, I try to be positive out of our relationship, but not when you're trying to kill me from choking or slapping the hair off.
You were killing yourself,
making my bald spot bigger.
You're over there eating it improperly. I'm minding my own business.
Eating it improperly? What do you mean?
You're choking on bacon bits. How is it my fault?
Okay, the dish it's got tater tots. It's called Tater Tot Surprise. It's got tater tots.
Doesn't have a name.
I named it Tater Tot Surprise because it's always surprise when you make
like
it.
Like a redneck casserole.
It's evolved into what it is today. It's tater tots. It's got turkey meat in it, and I guess what do you put some kind of cream of chicken or something in it?
You cook the turkey right in the skillet, and you season it however you like, which I do. And then when that's done, I pour a can of cream of whatever on it. Sometimes it's cream of chicken, sometimes it's cream of mushrooms, sometimes it's cream of broccoli. And then you mix it up. You throw that in a baking dish. You put the frozen tater tots on top, and you're basically just cooking the tots. And when they come out, you sprinkle mozzarella cheese on it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
and it sounds weird and it looks weird, but it is darn good.
It is good, and I treat it kind of like a potato, where I had sour cream, I had the bacon bits, and it just so happens I inhaled a bacon bit. So I think you had a train of thought. You were going to go into VR talk, Solana?
Well, so we're talking about VR, and I predicted in end of 2016 it was going to be big or here to stay, but I still think it's facing some challenges because it's not in every home right now. It's mainly because to buy the headset, mm-hmm. It's still up there in price. So it needs to be cheaper.
I think the last time I checked it was, $700? Or do you have $1 on that?
Well, the thing is, it's not enough that you're buying that. You've got to attach it to something.
Right, exactly. I mean,
and how much is that something going to cost you? Well, you need a PC or something to go with it, like I guess would be PlayStation, Mm-hmm. So it's not just that you buy the Oculus or the what's the other one called? I can't think. The one that goes for the Sony. Also, mm-hmm. There's not quite enough content there. I mean, like really awesome content that the killer apps and all that stuff. As far as gaming and fun things to do with it.
Well, hold on just a second there, Missy. I mean, it's slowly getting there, but the quality of the games that they have out there.
Compelling content, though?
There is some very compelling content, and as time goes on, let's backtrack for a second here. To our prediction show last year in December, which, by the way, at the end of this month, we'll have another prediction show.
We have another prediction show.
You were talking about how big VR was going to be, and it's going to be here to stay.
Well, it's doing all right. It's not the as widely adopted as they suspected because
the pricing is a little stiff right
mm-hmm.
now, and with everything it takes time for that pricing point to come down.
And the PC you need to run it is going to run you anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000, which that's about in line with what I paid for mine. Now my desktop PC, I didn't get it for this. I got it to run Adobe Creative Cloud products because mm-hmm. you've got to have the processor, you've got to have the RAM, and you've got to have the video card. It just so happens that all the things I need to run it are the same things you need to run a really good gaming machine plus VR. So it's VR ready, just happen to be. But you still need this content out there that makes people want to get it, buy it, and keep using it. And it's just not quite there yet. It's also, you're tied to your home, wherever you've got your setup. It's not mobile enough because it's kind of cumbersome. You still have cords. Sure, you can pick it all up and take it with you, but my goodness, you could do that with your PlayStation, but you're probably not going to take your desktop PC everywhere unless, you're going to be planted for a while. So you're still somewhat restricted with it.
True. However,
you're tethered to something.
I've heard some rumors coming down the pipe that Google Glasses are going to make a comeback, that they're working on it. I mean, augmented reality is coming down the pipe. Everyday thing where you put on some kind of device that you'll be able to, like, instead of looking at the GPS that we have in our cars, you can actually have this display where you'll be able to say, okay, yeah, there's a Macy's there, or there's a Whataburger there, or,
Now, I saw a few moments of the video of Ghostbusters Dimension, which is a VR experience. Mm-hmm. And it's branded as hyper reality because it's like beyond, what you're used to. So you go into this place, this gaming room area, and you're one of the Ghostbusters, and you get your gear on, it's just VR gear, and you're holding, I guess, which is like a proton pack thing, and you move through a real world obstacle course. So what I saw, it was like a bland landscape of like just shapes and boxes and desks, but when you have your goggles on, that gets painted over with what you're seeing in the game, which is beyond anything. So they're saying Ghostbusters Dimension has the user wear computers on their backs that kind of mimic the proton pack. So it kind of gives you that sense of a cordless experience. So that's getting more closer to what we're trying to make it more mobile. But also they're saying to do something really mobile, VR has got to have 5G speeds, which we don't even have here. We're still on 4G, which is cellular phone data and conversations. So how are we going to support something that's VR and also wireless? That's a big challenge. And another challenge is security, cybersecurity. They're saying anyone that follows cybersecurity can consider it only a matter of time, given how little attention is being paid to VR and cybersecurity. So it's like, so do you want someone to steal your gear if you go out with it, or do you want to get some biometric tracking so nobody else can use your stuff? How do you secure your laptops and desktops that have all these VR rigs to it? So there's some challenges into making this more widely popular and more prevalent. Mm-hmm. So, but just based on what you and I have experienced at Comic Palooza and at Maker Faire, boy, is it fun.
Oh, yeah, lots of fun.
I know you keep going back and asked to play that one same game again.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's the game is kind of it's not a first-person shooter. I guess in a way it is. I'm stationary in one point. However, I can move a little bit and to avoid these drones trying to shoot me. And you have a shield, and then, of course, you could flip the shield to another gun, and you try to destroy these devices as they're coming to shoot you. And then what's really cool is when they start to shoot you, it kind of goes into bullet time, where it slows down. And, it was just a fun game. I know that I could spend a lot of hours doing that, and I can only imagine that there would probably be no SBU show.
Yeah.
Because, it was just a barrel full of monkeys. And that's
looking at some of the VR headsets. Lenovo Explorer mixed reality is $400. Google VR is still getting into that tilt brush thing. Is one of the things I was looking. Oh, we've got a call, dear.
Oh, we'll put him through. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, there's our favorite lady. How are you, Bev?
Oh, just fine.
I hope.
Anxious for Tuesday.
I can imagine. I hope I didn't make you cry too much.
Oh.
I'll hit him if he did, because he's overdue.
No, after I was crying, then I was laughing so hard about your story.
I was going to say, when has it ever been a dull story on every night at SBU?
It never has.
He thinks I'm trying to kill him.
So, as we were talking at the beginning of the program, Bev, I mentioned how much that we appreciate you and Bob. Y'all have been just so supportive of the universe, and we appreciate it. We've always tried to be genuine when it comes to our show, and I mean every bit of what I said. We love y'all to death. I wish we were closer. We'd come see you if you were closer. I wished it wasn't such a drive all the way to Ohio.
If everybody could just move to Texas.
Yeah, just move to Texas.
That'd be nice for us. It'd be so much simpler.
And can you come in on Sunday too? Yes, that would be that'd be great. It's exciting because I saw your post, and then I guess later that evening, when Fade to Black came on, the Fadernauts pitched in too, so that was phenomenal.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was.
I imagine you weren't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting. Jimmy floored me when he made the announcement, and then he started a telethon. He called it Bevathon. I'm like, oh my God. I said I didn't realize so many people cared.
Well, we do. You're such a great person, Bev. And like I said earlier too, is that it's not an SBU night if I don't hear from you, and or if we don't see you or Bob in the chat room, we kind of where are they? I hope they're okay and everything. And you mean a lot to more than just us. It's a big universe, as I always say on this program. And apparently there are many people that love both of y'all, and it's just great that you don't have to worry about, the surgery coming up.
Oh, well, I had to start one of my drops in my eye tonight. I have to do a drop a day, 3 days before my surgery. And then the other two I have to do after my surgery. So it's like...
So not that I'm getting too shut me down if I'm getting too personal, but will the surgery definitely improve your eyesight?
Yeah.
Does Bob have something to worry about?
Oh, no, I knew what he looked like 31 years ago. He hasn't changed.
I was going to say, if you were Solana, she'd go, oh, it's you.
Oh. Whatever.
Oh, that was good, Space Boy.
Good. Medicine is the best. Laughter is the best medicine. Medicine is the best laughter, too, depending on what you're taking.
Medicine's the best medicine.
Just a teaspoon of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Oh, yes. And as my favorite Gene Hackman would say on Willy Wonka, liquor is quicker.
That's what I was about to say. So does,
And just for the people that don't know, I have this bad tendency of interchanging personalities. There was a show we did where I was trying to think of who played Willy Wonka on the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I yelled out Gene Hackman, of all things. And so that's kind of gone down as, a Space Boy classic moment. And Serlana just laughing her head off on that. So, but anyway, that's what that all means.
Oh, Lord. It was just, Bob and I are still in awe about it. Geez, all we wanted was just enough to pay for my medicine.
Well, it's good to
Oh,
know.
my
I
God.
imagine, that's a huge weight off your shoulders for
Yeah.
both of y'all. And,
Yes.
just to know that, perfect timing and, you couldn't ask for a better thing to come to you. And, I'm just glad that we were all able to help you out.
Oh, well, I'm just so grateful for everybody. It's like, man. Oh. And, I knew my family couldn't help, and Bob's family couldn't help. And it was like, what are we going to do? And I told Bob, well, how about a GoFundMe? And he's like, I don't know. And then he comes out, told me take my glasses off and he wanted to take a picture. I said, well, why? He just said, I want to take a picture. And then I see it on Facebook, and I said, oh, of course, it had to be a bad picture. But I just, oh, my gosh. I'm just doing all.
I know, but if anybody deserves that kind of thing, it's you two. So
Yeah.
Oh, well, bless your heart.
sorry, I don't do mushy very well.
I know she's about to explode over here, I'll have to check her temperature later.
Well, I try to bring out the best in everybody.
Oh, yeah, you could see it in our chat room with you, Bev. People respond well to you. I think even my sister in there said something, you were positive, and, so it doesn't go unrecognized. I mean, people see that, and, it's just proof positive if you just put a little bit of positive energy out there, and not expect anything back. What you get is tenfold, so, it's just, it's nice to see things like that.
Well, and see, I was raised to where you got to see the positive in everything. If you see negative, you're going to have a negative life.
Mm-hmm.
That explains some things.
You what?
That explains some things for me.
Oh. And then my mom and dad always taught us, you've got to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always believed in that.
Well, I guess my good friend
Doesn't work for me.
Kenny would always say you got to know when to hold them and know when to
It
fold
doesn't
them.
always work for me because I want to be left alone and people don't leave me alone. I try to leave them alone.
Ignore
oh,
me.
Carolina, I love you.
Well, not Kay. Kay apparently is in there making me laugh with circus peanuts or circus pants. That's a whole different thing altogether. But
Oh God! How
Bev,
did that ever get started?
It was 2 years ago.
I think it was. I was bringing up I like circus peanuts. Those little confection candies.
Oh yeah.
I think
My
they're.
grandpa used to have.
What
them.
are you, 85? What?
Look, do you see any Wortham's candies in this house? I'm still young.
God.
I like circus peanuts.
My mom did too. She liked those orange slices too. Those were like.
Oh, I love them orange slices. Those are good.
And then my grandmother had the licorice. I mean, my sister's Stacy out there could probably remember when she had the it was the candy that it was like a candy cane consistency, but it was all kind of melted together because it just been sitting there so long. And it was.
That's back when you go get that mixed bag of Brock's candy, you put your own together and weigh it, and just like that was supposed to be like the highlight of the month or something.
I remember doing that.
So, but anyway,
Man, I want a candy bar.
You have our love, you have our commitment, and there will not. As they say at Motel 6, not a sponsor, that we'll keep the light out for you.
Oh well, bless you.
I think I heard Bob laughing in the background.
What are you doing, honey?
Uh-oh. He's probably taking advantage of you right now.
Yeah, he wishes.
Until you could see again.
Oh God. Stop. Oh God, he comes up behind me and playing with my ears. He knows I hate that. He gets on the tip of my ears and tickles them, and it just sends weebie-jeebies up my back. Oh, gosh. He's a turd.
Jeez.
Well, see, you have something in common with Sir Lana.
What is that?
I would never call you a turd.
Given half a chance, I think you would, Sir Lana.
No.
Yes. Well,
He
anyway,
would what?
I made some gestures behind your back, but
call me a dirty name.
no, I wouldn't do that. That's disrespectful, and I would never swear at you
That's true.
directly because I feel like that's disrespectful too. Now, if you turn your back, there might be some kind of hand gestures, but you know.
Well, I didn't have to turn my back. You've done it in front of my face.
No, I haven't. No, I've not. I feel like that's very disrespectful. As long as you don't know about it, it's okay. No, if you and no one else knows about it, it's fine.
I love her way of thinking. You're so funny, Sir Lana.
There's no proof or evidence. It's okay.
There you go. But see, Bob knows me well enough. He knows what I'm doing behind his back.
Yeah, I know Sir Lana's pulling a dagger out to stab me because, you know, she wasn't trying to help me to get that bacon bit out.
Well, the thing is, you choke a lot just drinking water. And I've sat there and I've watched you turn completely red and blue.
All right, so here's the discussion on that.
You have a drinking problem in that you can't drink properly.
I don't have a drinking problem. What it is that as I'm drinking, sometimes I'm thinking of something, like if I'm talking.
He can't think and drink at the same
No,
time.
I
They
might
cross his wires and he chokes to death.
I have an
because
inner dialogue with myself, and all of a sudden I'm actually speaking in
he
my
can't
throat.
devote all the brain power
So
to
when
both.
I'm drinking and I'm doing that, then I choke to death because
This
I'm
is
like,
a complicated man. Let me tell you right here.
That's okay. I can't walk and chew. I can't walk and
He can't drink
chew bubble gum
and
at
think.
the same time.
no, it's just the old.
So he's constantly choking like almost to death, and I'm like, yeah, well, you know, that's what he does. He'll be fine because he's always fine.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about it to help him.
And so if you picture, if you will, so there I am, I'm dying, and Sir Lana is just like on her phone reading a Kindle book.
I'm like, oh, he's choking to
Yeah,
death.
he's choking it up, whatever.
This is what he does.
Let's see, it's been about 10 minutes, maybe another 5 more minutes to go. He's turning purple, but I think he's going to get this one out, you know. So he hasn't waved at me, at least that I know of, you know. So
you did the other night, and I beat the hell out of him this
Let me go
day.
back to stroking Muffin, our cat, like a Bond villain, you know, so...
And were you laughing and beating
I
him
was
at the
wailing
same
on him.
time?
No, I was being. I had the gravitas, the situation well in hand, and I was being, he could do it this time, you know. So I just took the opportunity to just beat the crap out of him.
It took me 3 minutes to wave at her to get her to stop reading her book, to come help me, you know, and, you know.
Sitting
Well,
right
is
next
your
to him.
life insurance paid up?
I think she's
He
got
doesn't
some
have
kind
life insurance.
some kind of
I have life insurance.
secret policy on me that I don't know about.
No, I don't.
Oh, gosh.
I have life insurance. I have short-term injury. I have life insurance. But
Oh,
you
now
won't
Space Boy's
benefit.
getting ideas, right? No.
I don't have anybody listed as a beneficiary, so it goes back
See,
to the state.
she doesn't care enough about me to even put me as a beneficiary. So, you know.
That's just pure laziness on my part. All I have to do is put your social security number in, and you're a beneficiary.
Well, Bev, we're reaching towards the top of the hour, and but you
And
know,
the end of his patience.
whatever. You know, this is going to go on for another hour, so you know, I'm sure we'll think of something else
to get upset about.
You know, because you know, as I said before, medicine is the best medicine, and
Medicine is best medicine. Yep,
and
yep.
so you know, just keep it here on the SBU.
Oh, I always hear.
I know.
Now I can't talk.
Now you know my affliction.
Yes.
Stay away from the
I've been
bacon
hearing
bits,
about-
and best of luck with surgeries. We'll keep an eye on you.
Hmm. Yeah, keep us posted.
Okay. I sure will.
Right.
I love you.
I love you guys too.
See, I like hearing that.
Yeah. Narcissist.
Good night, Bev.
Bye, Bev.
Good night, guys.
You know, I love my narcissism.
I know.
Yeah,
I have problems, but I enjoy them.
I'm kind of like a Bill Shatner kind of narcissism occasionally.
Oh God, I wouldn't be married to you if that was true.
But let's see here. Yeah, no more. What? I tell you what, that's not going to stop me from eating
Deadly
more
bacon bits.
I'm going to continue to eat my bacon bits and
I'm
love
gonna
it.
hide them.
No, you will not. It's kind of like, speaking of hiding food, you have to hide bread from me. Yeah, I know. Let's take our break.
Let's not get into the bread problems now.
Yeah, let's talk about bread in our next segment
talk
here
about
on
bread.
the SBU. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network. All right, we're back.
Love that song.
Yes, some more Space Boy music. That was Nova. I think that was off Electronica Communication.
It is.
Yes, and it was a fun album to do. It's
Fun cover to make too.
I
cover
I
art.
hate to sound like I'm always tooting my horn on certain things like music, but
You should.
The thing is that when I write an album, at the moment it's like, I hate to say it, I get sick of doing that music at that time. And it's hard for me to. Let me explain. I'm so close to the painting, if you will. Meaning that that I can't really enjoy the music that's been written, even though it comes from within me. It's not until time has passed a little bit that I get to, out of the creative mode and into the listener
You got
mode.
a distance away.
Yeah, and so with that particular album, many albums before. It's always great to go back and listen to things that I've created like that, and because it reminds me of things that were going on, or and I'm like, okay, wow, how did I write that, or what did I do here? And so, and that particular song, Nova, is definitely one of those songs that when I hear it again, it's like it's nicely written. The sound quality is nice, has a nice beat, and it's just an enjoyable thing to reflect on past music. And so, anyway, I just wanted to share that thought with you.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy your music, especially I have access to all your music, even music Space Cadets will never get to hear because you don't like the sound quality. So,
well, I'm very particular of stuff from a certain time point because
really old stuff.
My older stuff, is. It was a learning process.
Yeah.
My older stuff.
My early quote unquote digital art pieces, I still have them, all of them, and they're hysterically bad. That's what.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's just great to. It's kind of like when you listen to music that you enjoy, and I'm saying you as the Space Cadets. That you have, maybe you love the 80s, or maybe you're into the 70s, or even maybe beyond that, depending on your age. We're a big happy family here. It just, you hear a piece of music and it takes you back. It's an encapsulation of space and time that when played, you can revisit. So there you go. What you got, Solana?
Sorry, I got to threaten somebody. Okay, there. It's all right, it's family. Hey, I just learned something cool.
Oh.
NASA fired up Voyager 1's backup thrusters for the first time in 37 years. I thought that thing was way the heck out there that they couldn't even talk to it.
Actually, it takes it's out there. It takes about 19 hours and some change to transmit. And then to actually another 19 and change to get a message back.
So they announced they successfully fired up Voyager 1's backup thrusters, and they haven't done that since 1980. Mm-hmm. How is that?
Well, I know that the other thrusters they have used, and through the course of the years, it's required more energy, so they tried these other thrusters, and apparently they work normal. And
that's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, to be all the way out there.
How old is Voyager 1?
Well, I guess it was launched in the mid-'70s.
Hang on, maybe I'll look here.
So
it's Voyager 1's the only human-made object flying outside of our solar system.
Well, there's that in Voyager.
Still communicating with Earth.
What about Voyager 2?
By way of the Deep Space Network, we can still send it instructions.
Mm-hmm.
The attitude control thrusters make tiny corrections, firing only for milliseconds at a time to rotate it and point its antenna toward Earth. So they found out since 2014, they found that these thrusters have been wearing down and aren't as effective, so they're having to use the backups. And wow, you still have backups? They're that old? And so they were active as in November 1980 when the probe zipped by Saturn. So I'm guessing it's going away from us toward the edge, away from the sun, So they're going to switch over the thrusters in January, but the drawback is that they'll require heaters to operate, so the whole thing's got limited power right now. So there'll be a point where they can't use the heaters anymore.
Exactly. Well, it's getting out in a deep space, and there's not really a way to heat it up, and so, it's cold in space.
I heard it's no place to raise a kid either.
No.
Now, remember we kept talking about Amazon was going to start doing drone deliveries.
Yeah.
Like, well, where the heck did they go? Well, maybe they've been worried about safety, and they haven't done it, because Amazon's now trying to patent a self-destructing drone that falls apart in an emergency, just like me and you. So that's been actually one of their biggest concerns. So what if you're trying to deliver a package, but the drone malfunctions and it falls out of the sky, and you can't control that? So they think, well, maybe if the drone can fall safely, so they're trying to work on a patent for direct fragmentation for unmanned airborne vehicles. In other words, a drone that takes itself apart in midair if something goes wrong. So I guess it will just scatter into shrapnel.
I thought that they were going to do some kind of like parachute thing. I can only imagine that the shrapnel would be kind of dangerous.
Well, it says, the patent says, it would have something called an onboard fragmentation controller that would take over in the event of a problem, like a battery exploding or a propeller failing. So they would the computer in this drone would quickly study the drone's flight path, weather conditions, the terrain before blowing itself apart or dismantling itself in midair, which sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So they're saying, look, if it's going to crash anyway, can we have it crash in the safest way possible by making little chunks? But what about the thing it's carrying? What happens to the payload is what I'm wondering.
The payload goes down.
So they're saying one or more of the parts or components can be released. So weight, speed, air drag coefficient, all factors have to be, taken into account. So the order of which the parts get jettisoned could be selected based on their value, detached, using hooks and springs and small explosive charges. This sounds perfectly safe, doesn't it? Now, there's no guarantee they're just doing the patent, but there's no guarantee, that'll actually get used. But, like you said, they had considered parachutes built into shipping labels, drone beehives for distribution in cities, and drone carrying blimps. Blimps need to make a comeback, man.
Actually, I could see that making a comeback.
But they're saying, in the real world, Amazon plans for drone delivery faces more common challenges like building a flight controller that can handle dozens of aircraft at once, convincing people that delivery drones make a more economic sense. You have to get people willing to receive the drone. So the technology's ready to go. It's just that they don't have some things ready. They're saying the only real-life implementations of drone delivery to date has been delivering blood and medical supplies. So that's interesting to me. But then you can't explode yourself if you're delivering blood and medical supplies, right?
Right.
Wouldn't that be somewhat problematic?
True. I don't know. The drone thing is still in its infancy, and it's going to be interesting as things progress in the year to come, where they take a lot of that technology. Amazon just wants it. Ability to... They had transporter technology. Amazon would love to just beam a package right to you as soon as you order it.
I think that's decent of them.
Although I heard that
I
don't know if it was Amazon. I think it was Amazon where they were talking about deliver your groceries and have the ability to come into your house. And I think a lot of people.
Too...
I think you just need to stay outside my door.
Yeah. just leave it on the mat, and then our relationship ends.
Sirlana, the show does cover UFOs. And I wanted to bring up this one interesting thing. Texas UFO Jane.
Yeah, good old.
We haven't talked about her in a while. And
we should talk to her.
Yeah, we should reach out and
we should talk to just somebody, anybody.
See how she's doing. But she got a report of, a report from San Antonio. That's here in Texas. And apparently,
I've been there.
It was a fascinating thing. Well, in fact, if you go to TexasUFOsightings.com, this particular one is Gray Aliens Invade San Antonio Home, Witness Reports. Definitely, I don't want to give all of it away. Just know that this young lady was in her house taking care of her parents. And she got up in the middle of the night, went to the restroom, like so many of us do in the middle of the night. And as she was making her way back to her bedroom, she heard nails kind of scratching across the kitchen floor. She thought it was her cat. And, we have a cat, and, we kind of hear Muffin going here and there and everywhere sometimes.
I'm at the story right now.
Yeah, and so basically, as she went past the kitchen, out of the corner of her eye, she saw the typical 3 to 4 foot gray, and then she saw this big 6 foot gray. And, I guess the story doesn't really describe her getting into a panic. But what were you going to say?
It says here what you said. Of course, it was just a witness, no photographs, no videos. She went into great detail when she said she spotted him. She got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. And when she was coming back, she heard clicking noises, like you said, thought it was the cat's nails.
Right. Play-by-play from Sirlana.
And there was an electrical feeling in the air. It was between 4 a.m. and 4:10. It was on September 23rd of this year. She does live with her disabled parents, and noises will wake them up, she says. So she said this hallway goes straight from her bedroom to the door to the restroom. So one side of the hallway, there are 2 other bedrooms. The other side of the hallway is the living room kitchen. So the living room has a doorway accessing the kitchen as well as a doorway accessing the hallway. So the lights outside the house were turned off except for a small nightlight in the kitchen. So she didn't notice anything different when she walked to the restroom, except for one thing. She felt that slight electrical charge in the atmosphere that made the house feel a little different. So when she was on her way back, she heard some sounds. She thought it was the cat walking across the kitchen floor. So she stood in the hallway, and she thought the sound was getting closer, that clicking. So she looked over and expecting to see the cat. Instead, she saw a 6 foot alien turn to look at her from the kitchen. And they just stared at each other. And she says there was a shorter one, 3 or 4 feet tall, with a large head, black slanted eyes, no ears, stubby nose, small mouth. Their arms were long in proportion to the body. It was being backlit by the nightlight, off-white grayish color. It was looking at the alien and began making soft clicking noises with its mouth. So she says the weird thing is she felt more of that electricity in the air, and this feeling of ease came over her, and inside her head she heard them say, "No danger, this may not be real." So she was confused, she was scared, she wanted to get away, so she raised her right hand to see what happened, and the alien raised its right hand back at her. She started walking down the hallway toward her bedroom, and she couldn't stop thinking about going back to sleep. So it's like she's got this sudden urge to go back to bed.
Right.
She said she got halfway down the hallway to her bedroom and remembered thinking, what if there's more than one of those in this house? She stopped in front of the bedroom door so she could open it. As she's reaching out to grab the knob, she looked down into the living room. 4 feet away from her, standing in the doorway to the kitchen, was that tall alien facing towards her and looking directly at her. It's basically like the short gray, except its torso was, longer.
Right.
She heard a calm voice saying, "It's okay, just go back to sleep." She raised her right hand and moved it like she was waving. It raised its right hand and waved back. So this time she was feeling a strong buzzing sensation all over her body. She remembers hearing more soft clicking sounds coming from the tall one. She was overcome with this impulse. She could not resist to reach out, open her bedroom door, and go in. Closed it behind her. Went in the bed, fell asleep as nothing ever happened.
And, I kind of brought this up to you a few days ago. It's just a fascinating, quick read. And, if you want more interesting stories like this, definitely check out.
I'll link this to you real quick in the chat.
Actually, I put a link in there, but it's good.
Whatever.
Two for one there. UFO Jane provides great information of things that are happening here in Texas. She also covers other things outside of Texas, but Texas-related UFO things are always really cool.
Well, we have some pretty freaky stuff. It's worth having its own site.
It's a big state here, It's amazing what is out there. Everything from chupacabras to aliens to Bigfoots. I think Nick Redfern put something out there about Bigfoot, and you can find that on her site as well. So definitely check her out and tell her that the universe sent you there. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, we need to connect with her soon.
So, I know that we do housekeeping a little bit later, but, we were talking about the rest of the month schedule. As I said before, probably towards the end of this month, the last Saturday of this month, we'll do a prediction show. And
so that one's set.
That one's set. As far as the weekend leading up to Christmas, we are thinking about taking Christmas off, or that weekend of.
That Saturday.
And so,
maybe Sunday too?
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. So there's a possibility we'll be taking that weekend off, but returning promptly for the next weekend in time for the show, the prediction show.
Y'all wouldn't mind if we took a weekend off, would you? Just for...
I mean, I know that you love us to death, but...
It's not like we're going to be doing anything, but,
Yeah, so, and we kind of had this talk together, Solana and I, and she's like looking at me, begging me, like, can we please just take a day off from Space Boy Universe? And so this will probably be one of those rare moments where, since we're not really technically exploring the universe, that we'll be off. So just expect us to be off the weekend of leading up to Christmas. But we'll be back with another show and our other shows that we do on the SBU network, and life will be good. And so we don't really have anything scheduled for next week. We're trying to get a guest.
I had some things I want to talk about, but you said that's not very Christmassy or holiday-like, so I can't find anything positive or uplifting to talk about.
Whoa.
That's just not who I am.
You were talking about some kind of Christmassy theme, weren't you?
Yeah, but that's for one show.
And I said that sounds great, and we could also talk about like Krampus.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah, and I mean, and then I feel like if we're going to do a show like that, then maybe we shouldn't take off the weekend leading towards Christmas, because then that's the perfect time to have this conversation.
Oh, God.
So, and then of course there's another gentleman that we've reached out to that we would love to get back on the show this month, and we haven't heard back from him, at least.
Well, people other than us tend to do things all during December.
Yes, I do realize that other people have.
Not like us. We're like,
I'm
only doing one thing for quote unquote Christmas, and I don't know what day it's happening, but it involves going up to see Leanne and having dinner up there. So if anybody's inviting me and him over, if your thing conflicts with my thing, I'm going to do my thing. I'm sorry. It's already set in stone. As
she says so lovingly. But anyway, so just keep the tune to the Spaceboy Universe site. What else can we talk about, Solana, that might be uplifting? And maybe we could talk about your supposedly Christmas show that you think I turned it down, which I didn't.
I didn't have a Christmas show. You're saying those ideas are not very festive or positive or uplifting.
Okay, now I'm curious to know.
I don't want to say it because I don't know who took the idea.
I tell you what, when we take our break here at the bottom of the hour, refresh my memory, and then we'll talk about it.
And I don't
break.
disagree with you. It's just that I don't think in terms of positive, uplifting stories. I think of what's interesting. and the dark stuff is interesting to me.
I know. Yeah, I know the stuff you read.
Can't help it.
Yeah, so, I mean, even Jane Austen, it's so dark.
No, it's not.
And creepy. And,
It's not.
it is. So, anything that you would like to say before?
Well, I didn't know that this was that we were going to end up like this, so, isn't there anything you want to talk about pop culture, like Star Wars coming up, or the things you've been watching, or?
Well, I didn't even think about Star Wars, but this is the month. I imagine.
Oh man, yeah,
It's coming soon. I don't
want to go.
What did you go to the last one?
No.
So why are you worried about this one?
Okay, good. I don't have to go.
I mean,
I don't want to be with people.
I mean, there's been some movies that I've gone to that you didn't come with me. But
I know, and that's great because you're a grown man and you can do that.
I like how you use the grown man card on me, and you're a grown man.
Hey, this is funny. The Moon Pie Twitter account is slowly becoming the only good thing about Twitter.
Okay.
You know the Moon Pie,
Oh, I
right?
love moon pies. Yes, banana.
And like their latest tweet, it's a good day as they need to stick a moon pie in the microwave, light a couple candles, and scream into a soft pillow.
Okay.
I think they're correct about this. Oh, man. That's it? Nothing else?
Well, I guess we could go with our bottom of the hour break. We're a few minutes early, and that way I can get a chance to talk to you off the air and see what this major show you want to do that I apparently have forgotten. And so let's take our break. Hey, this is Space Boy, and Solana's over there thinking of what she's going to tell me during this break, and you're listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network. Don't touch that dial. We have many friends of the show, and one of which is Solaris Blue Raven. And she's invited us to come hang out with her on her show, and on January 9th, and as we get closer, we'll remind our Space Cadets to tune in. It's on a Friday night, and so you'll get Space Boy, Serlana, and Solaris Blue Raven talking about...
She says January 5th, 2018.
It's January 5th?
Friday.
But it's still a Friday, right?
Yeah.
So on the 5th, check it out, Friday. We'll give you more details as we get closer, and, we'll all hang out together, and it'll be a good time.
Hey, there's an unknown caller calling.
I hope it's somebody I know.
Are you there, unknown caller?
Hello.
Hello, Dino.
Oh, I wasn't sure I had the right number. I was dialing another one.
Uh-oh.
No.
I can only imagine.
I'm not 100% tonight. I don't know what happened. I worked too hard all week, and I woke up very sore. I'm getting better. I ate a good dinner. How are you guys tonight?
Good. Did you get my message that I did try to call you back a few days later?
Oh yeah, that was no problem. It just I think I was trying to tell you something, which now escapes me. But it'll be sad that you're not around Christmas for me because I don't usually have plans, and I'm off work for a couple of weeks.
You could still Skype us. We'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be here. Yeah, I mean, Serlana's the one that wants to take the time off. I'd rather I'd rather do a show, come in, and just marshmallows, cocoa.
Who knows? We might surprise you. I don't know. I just don't feel like doing research that week.
Well, if she doesn't want to do it, you fly on out here. We'll go see the Star Wars movie together here.
Nice.
That's a great idea.
Well,
and we've got a really nice theater here with real comfortable seats that rock and, free parking.
We have recliners now.
So, I feel like we haven't talked to you in a long time, Dino. I think that my concern at one point was, and I hope you don't mind us talking about this, was Heather Wade. There was apparently a kind of a buzz that hit the Facebook thing, and do you know what's going on, or was it just people just misinterpreting what she was saying, or what's your angle? Because I know you're in touch with a lot of things here, Dino.
Well, I am in touch with her, even off air by message. We haven't spoken by phone off air, but I don't know what that was about. I think that my take on it was that she was going to take a week off. She had not taken it for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Some people then, at the same time, there was talk about, really we need to support the show. And I don't know if they needed more advertisers or, whether Evil Keith, the producer of the whole thing, needed more money. And I wasn't clear. I heard part of it. And so they all seemed to happen kind of simultaneously. And then she did announce one night, I'm going to be gone for a few days for Thanksgiving. And then she didn't come back that Monday, but that Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And I missed the first part of her program, but I don't think she said anything about it, just that she'd been on vacation. I had seen her once or twice active online briefly, but I never talked with her live. I would have had she been gone any longer. No, I think that's just basically it. I think she also keeps talking about, well, as long as I'm on this show, I love doing it, which in some people's minds might make them feel like that there was an end near. So I think it's just a lot of double meaning and double interpretations of what she said, as far as I know.
Well, I have to say that she's done such a great job doing the position, and she's such an interesting host, and the go into that position, it speaks volumes to her holding her own, and I was just kind of shocked, like, what's going on? I thought she's been doing a great job, and I was just kind of blown away. But then once again, it's kind of one of those things that you can't believe everything you read on the internet, because some people take it a certain way, and then you've got that pack of people that like spread it like a virus, if you will, and it's not even the truth. It becomes bigger than the truth.
Well, again, I think you're right. I don't know, but it could be like the game we played when we were kids, the tin can, what was it called, telephone, where you'd get a group of people in a circle, and someone would start with a very clear sentence or idea and say, pass it on, and sometimes, depending on the group you were doing it with, it would be a totally different message by the time it came back to you.
Oh, yeah.
So
I remember playing that.
Yeah, so people do that sometimes. Or, as I said, their interpretation of how something was said or what was said, or maybe they weren't listening fully, like a lot of us are on a computer doing other things while we're listening. They come back and see a chat live. While there is not a live chat, there are several off-radio chats that occur during her show.
Mm-hmm.
So at any rate, that maybe someone took it wrong. I didn't. I thought I had heard earlier in that week she's taking off for vacation. She hasn't had a break for a while. I know she's very committed. And I do agree with you. Some people don't like her. It took a while for me to get used to her, but she's grown. She certainly is a different personality. I think in some ways more like you and Sirlana, in that she's very genuine. It's not all about her. It's more about the show, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I totally understand where you're coming from. We've had many conversations off the air, and, I've always, told you that, I can only be me. And, good, bad, take me for what it is. And then, the show is really just a place where people can come together, that it just in kind of a community, if you will, and just just be themselves and not have to worry about the outside world. And and that's what I like about doing this show. And I do agree with you about Heather. She comes across genuine, and I like people like that, and it's easy to listen to. It's interesting you bring up, haters are going to hate, Dino, and it just bugs the crap out of me. I'll use this as an example, and I know it's far-fetched, but the Doctor Who thing, as you probably might not know or do know, they're going to a female doctor. Well, that had a lot of people uproar, and they don't know how they expect it. So the paradigm there, it has people unglued, and so it's that uncertainty, the unknown. But once that person gets in and they start doing their acting, their opinion of them could change easily. And I compare that in the sense that here's Heather. She's come in, after people like Art, and that's a big pair of shoes to fill, but yet here she comes in, just bees her, she's being herself, and there's a group of people that appreciate it, and it's great to see that she's hold her own, and but you can't please everyone. You can just come on at the end of the day, please yourself, be yourself, and I think that's all that matters.
Well, it's not about celebrity, and that's the thing that some hosts get into. I mean, some people forget that Art Bell left and originally handed his Coast to Coast program over to Nori, and he said he's the real deal. But a lot of us, I'm just my opinion, but I've heard a lot of people say Nori's not the real deal. He's kind of like phoning it in. He's not really interested in some of the topics. You get that feeling from Heather that she is. I happen to know she's an Aquarian, so she's a very humanitarian person. And then the few times that I have talked with her off air, very genuine. I think she's just like kind of a country girl. She likes living away from it all and doesn't want celebrity. I can use as an example the wonderful, that I believe are real, because I know the person whose trail cam took him, the 2 or 3 Sasquatch pictures that I decided to share with her. And she's very excited about that because she has had an encounter with Sasquatch herself years ago in Northern California. And so whenever, as a matter of fact, just the other night I happened to call in, there was someone that was a Sasquatch researcher in Florida. And he's a younger guy, but he's been doing it about 10 years. And she showed him the photos, and he wasn't sure. And I said, well, all I can tell you is I'm sure, because I know the person for many years whose camera took him. I know where his property is, and it's not some guy in a suit. So that has made me, along with, there's a website called, that I've come across that tends to be more southern-oriented, down in the southern states, called Bigfoot 9/11. And the people on there are for real, and they've had a few haters come on and they blocked them, but there's some interesting videos and sound recordings that they they don't seem to want to share, but it's an inside group, and there are people right now actively wandering the woods, but they know how to hunt for Sasquatch, and it's not, scream and yell and bring 15 TV cameras. If you're going to hunt anything, you have to act like you are a hunter and they are prey, and you're in someone's environment, you must adjust to it. You don't make a lot of noise. You act like you're not there. You blend into the woodwork, so to speak. And so I know that Heather is genuine on that topic. Some topics she doesn't agree with some people on. She's not a real big fan of conspiracy, but we're educating her that there are conspiracies that are true.
Sure.
It doesn't mean you're anti-American if you believe in certain things. I mean, I'm a big Jesse Ventura fan. You may not like his style, but the guy really seeks the truth, and he seems to be another guy. I don't think he has a lot of ego. And the JFK papers come to mind. I mean, here we are 53 years later, and they're still redacting and not leaving stuff. You don't have to be Jesse Ventura to realize, well, there must be something to hide. Why does it take all these years? You can't say national security, After 50 years, there's no one even alive or still in a national secure job that has to worry.
Well, I was going to say that, we take the approach that, we've had a few guests on Solana that we didn't agree with, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And but the thing at the end of the day is,
hopefully we hit it well.
We listen. At the end of the conversation, we can agree to disagree, but I think in the long term, it's important to hear these different voices and not get our underwear in a knot and get all bent out of shape, because at the end of the day, you have a different opinion than I do, and I just want to learn why you think the way you do, and so it helps me understand myself better, and I like doing that approach, so we try to keep various different people on and try to keep that dialogue moving.
Well, yeah, and you don't know who's true. I mean, when you have an experience yourself, whether it's an aerial phenomenon or it's something in the woods, or you've seen someone do something with your own eyes that is not true and no one else believes you, you're going to have a different point of view. And yeah, you could be wrong. I don't mind when I come up with something with constructive critics, that point out stuff. And for example, with the Sasquatch pictures that I let Heather post, a couple of researchers have come on, and Heather very generously has let me call in and give me a little extra time to answer. And I tell them, look, I just happen to know this person. I know he doesn't seek publicity. I know these pictures are from a few years ago. I found them myself. He didn't push them to me or say, hey, look what I have. And for years, he's suspected something on his property, which is in a remote area of Northern California near the Oregon border. So that was an example where people started to criticize. Most people liked it. Some didn't know. And I said, well, all I can tell you is I know the person. I know he doesn't have time to do this. He's an old guy that just wants to be left alone, and enjoy his property. That's why he bought it. He's got two houses, and one is way up there that he spends most of his time at. And so when you see something, whether it's an aerial phenomenon or something, you're going to have a different perspective. And people often say, the famous quote, I know what I saw. Well, maybe you don't know what you saw, but you're going to be a lot more convinced because you saw it. Mm-hmm. But if someone just wants to attack you, and now Donna had mentioned something here in your chat that I think is true, that there was a guest a few weeks ago that was on her show that was kind of nasty to her, and she got upset. And unlike some hosts that might just hang up on people, she kept the person on and kind of got emotional about it. And that might have been another thing that she needed a break, or maybe she just said, screw it, I'm not doing it. But after she got offline and she, I think, right away recovered, I was talking with her by chat and said, look, you're doing a good job. You've grown a lot. There's more to come. Don't throw in the towel, So I think that was just that one night, and I think that added to everything I've said previously. People have different perspectives, and like the telephone game, people pick up on different things and come to different conclusions.
Indeed.
Exactly. I agree.
So, it's it is a difficult journey, to say the least, when you get behind this mic. Like I said, you can't please everyone.
And it's amazing how people behave differently before you have a little radio show, and then after you have one. You're like, what difference does it make that we have a radio show?
Yeah, I know.
To your life,
Admittedly,
well, people are afraid you might talk about them, but I mean, the bottom line is,
I think we've proven
you
we haven't
please
talked
everybody.
about anyone.
Yeah, but if you try to please everybody, then you'd have a crummy show. You know?
True. And
I don't even try to please Space Boy.
Oh,
that's very evident from what I hear.
I talk bad, but
he's a lot of fun, isn't he?
Yeah. So it's all good when it's all said and done. But
he's not choking to death.
But through the course of our show, I know that we've lost people that that were very close to us, and then they kind of just went away. But when one door closes, another one opens, and we still have a very good hardcore space cadet audience, and and it's great to have even people such as yourself, Dino, that has stuck by us and listened to us, and we appreciate everyone that tunes in. So we appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you, but I do talk to you. I'm always aware that we're on the air and it's public, so I try not to bring certain things up. But other than that, I speak to you just like I speak to any friend or acquaintance on the phone. I tend to do a lot of phone visiting now because of the fact I don't live right in the middle of the city anymore, and people don't drop by as often.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, if it's not the internet, I would rather talk to someone on the phone than chat with them. But
Sure.
the point is that I try to talk the same way. I'm the same whether I'm on television or when I ran for public office, or it's really me. I'm going to tell you what I feel, and I'm going to understand that not everybody agrees, and sometimes it's because some people are just jerks and egomaniacs,
Mm-hmm.
and they will not see another point of view.
Some people are just
like
waiting
this,
to be offended. They can't wait to be offended. They're
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there to poison.
Yeah.
Please say something to upset me.
Well, jealousy comes into play, too. You have to look at the psychology. You have a large soapbox when you're broadcasting anywhere, whether it's on a FM radio station or on the internet now, and you can reach far more people. And maybe some people are just jealous. Jealousy is a big thing. And then the other thing is some people are afraid, I know that you've always respected this, but of when they know something about you personally and you're broadcasting, that maybe too much of them will be exposed to God knows who. I mean, we all know, we make a joke, but the various government alphabet agencies, I have no doubt that they listen to these shows. They can't listen to all of them all the time, but I think they thumb mark them, and maybe they can. With the supercomputers now, they can store any amount of communications and call it up later. If they go, oh, yeah, that guy Dino, he's been on a lot of shows, we better check him out because national security. Whereas I have no danger to my country. I might have danger to some people running it, not in a violent way, but in a way of taking away their power, because we have to do that. 2017 has been a rough year, and when you go to your show to review, I don't believe in predictions, but I'll tell you, if you look behind us, we've been through some very stressful times, regardless of what point of political view or you have. There's been a lot of energy expended, and some of it very upsetting the last year.
Yes, I agree with you. I think this year has been very divisive, and it's sad. But I always kind of bring it back to us, and that is that we always try to be who we are, and I try to definitely force the idea that let's have a conversation. I'm willing to talk to you, and we might not agree on this, but there's so much more we can agree on and still be friends. And there was a time when people were more like that, and I don't plan on changing that kind of thing just because one little thing, it's not going to tear me apart.
No, some people handle celebrity better than others, and whatever type of a celebrity you are, you're still being you, and I see that, and and whatever you picked up from your mother, she sounded like she was a great, mellow, down-to-earth woman. You pick that up, and even the way you handle your wife, who, you might want to just give her a smack sometime, like Sean Connery said, when she goes too far. You don't do it.
It would be the last thing he ever did on this
yeah,
earth.
see, there you go. And she's got her Xena Warrior Princess on all the time.
I mean, how attached are you to your kneecaps? I mean...
So, I mean, that's the thing. But in spite of all this, I mean, I'm a little under the weather. I'll feel better. I had a glass of Chianti tonight. I hadn't had wine for a week. No, it's just, I think it was just stress and a long work week, and I slept well last
night. And we're using you, Dino. We're just using you.
No, I woke up with a lot of pain, and it's kind of through the day. But today, I still accentuated the positive. I dragged myself out of bed because the crew came and put up my solar panels. So in spite of threats to take tax credits away and all types of people saying that, I'd love to find 0 point energy and have it released for all of us. And in spite of what I do believe Tesla discovered, I said, I'm not getting any younger and I don't have tons of money, but I decided to invest in a few solar panels on my roof.
That's awesome.
And I'm very excited about it because even though it's very expensive up front, if I beat the odds and live another 15 years, it'll have paid for itself. And I'm living kind of space age, haven't I? I mean, solar panels, even though you and I and the listeners know that's not the best technology today. It's because so much is being hidden from us, but at least it's the best legal technology I can have.
Well, Dino, I will say that at least you're making the effort to try something alternative to creating power for yourself, and that goes a long ways. So, I don't look at it as a negative. I think it's very positive that, you're being, I guess, contributing to the environment in the sense of not wasting power through other means, through coal, through nuclear. I mean, you're harnessing the universe's power, and that is something fantastic. And I have nothing but kudos for you.
Exactly, and there's another side to it: having power from the sun. I sometimes feel older, sometimes feel younger, but I'm getting up there in years. And for years, I want to state this up front: we all have a right to live, and the universe can be abundant. But as I get older, I look back through the years, and I used to do this even when I was middle-aged. I'd say, I'm using up a lot of stuff. I mean, think of all the toilet paper you use, and every time you relieve yourself, and all the food we consume. And when you drive your car, I'm consuming, even though it should be a multiple universe, we know that the planet has limited resources. And I never had a lot of money in my life, but I'm at a position where I was just able to squeak through. I got some Tesla was pushing this stuff, and I was all excited because I like what Mr. Musk does. Most of the time he reaches out everywhere, and that's why he named his company Tesla, because trying to find things that have not been used before and expand them. So I decided to go with his company. I don't know if it was the cheapest. I looked around, but I just wanted something that, going back over the years I've been alive, I could at least make up for some of the resources that I've consumed.
Well, it's good that you're doing the solar thing, and I have been wanting to do it for some time. Mm-hmm. It's just
the cost is a bit.
It's a little bit out of reach for us, but I know that at some point.
But just to stick it back to the man would be so satisfying.
Oh, exactly,
yes.
Exactly. But the thing, I just wanted to mention to you, Space, is that I decided to buy, but who knows, with this tax stuff going on, they could take that away. So I'll be safe because I'm grandfathered in for this year, 17. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if you have to wait longer, you can rent, and I almost did that. There are companies, you don't get any tax credits, but you pay them instead of the power company. The panels are on your roof, and if it feeds back in. So you would definitely have a lower bill, at least in California, and they may have a program where you are. You can sign up with a company. They handle everything, the permits and all, put it on the roof, and then plug you in. It's just that you pay to them instead of the power company. You're getting solar energy, but you just don't get tax credit. Well, you're young enough, maybe you don't need the tax credit, so you should try that, because a lot of people have told me it ends up being zero cost for them up front, and you just go with it, and you just pay them instead of your power company.
Yeah, and then plus it relieves a load off the grid.
So we can build less nuclear too, because I'm just a person who doesn't think that in the long run, everybody says, oh, nuclear is efficient, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're talking fission. They're talking about fusion now. When that comes in, yeah. But for fission, people forget 25, 30 years later, like Diablo Canyon nuclear plant that I protested about 30 years ago, is now getting ready to be decommissioned. Where does all the junk go? And if you listen to this woman, Libby, she's got a nuclear awareness page. And if you listen to her and other people, you find that most of the nuclear storage of most of the plants that have been in operation, they're still sitting on site. They decommission them. They don't know where to put them. They were going to put them in Yucca Mountain, Arizona. Oh, no, finally we couldn't do that near an earthquake vault. There's no safe place to put the waste. So that very fact alone should tell people we got to get off the grid so they don't need to build more power plants. We can get more independent.
Exactly.
Which is what Tesla wanted in the first place. He wanted wireless electricity. But oh no, couldn't meter that. So J.P. Morgan took it away.
Indeed. I love that story. Well, Dino, we're approaching the end of our show, and
no, I don't want to go.
I know you don't want to go.
I had my second glass of Chianti. I'm ready to go.
I can tell you're ramping up. But Dino, we appreciate you.
Thank goodness we have Dino.
And we do. And I will tell the audience that I've had conversations with Dino off air, and he is just like you hear him on the air, but he tells a little bit more than you would probably tell on the air, and it's always a good story when I talk to Dino. And I just want to tell you, Dino, you're an awesome guy, and I'm glad you're a part of what we do here.
And you can always call me off air too if you need to. I mean, if I'm not working, I'm usually ready to talk.
I got your digits.
Good night, all you space cadets. And have a nice night and stay warm. It's chilly here tonight. So.
All right,
okay?
Dino, have a good evening.
Bye, Dino.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
Dino to the rescue.
Yes, indeed. Solana, we've got 15 seconds, and I get to push the button, and we're out of here. But, real quick,
we'll be back next week. Something will happen.
We'll be back. And then Donna mentioned a call-in show.
If people would actually call in, that would be great, because we can't rely on just Dino and Bev.
Yeah, Dino
They've done phenomenal.
We appreciate them, but yeah, we need more callers. So tune in next week or through the course of our Facebook and our social media to find out what's up, and I guess we'll go there. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Executive producer is Sir Lana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Mark S, and Bob N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.